Kanpai!
Finally,
that didn't take many times. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 18 of Kanpai Cast. So, today we are going to be talking about military in anime. So, it's a bit of an open topic. We're going to be talking about sort of representations, the good, the bad, what kind of effects it has on like the Japanese psyche and portrayals of various militaries and different animes. It's not going to be an all-encompassing thing. We're just going to have a go at some of the ones that we've seen and we want to talk about. However, before we begin, I guess I should introduce these other people who are here. So obviously I am MDRLOz, and I am back in pixel format. And today, I need to get in the goddamn robot. Now, along with me... Damn it. Along with me, we have Xenogelion over here.
Yo.
In full 3D.
The Netflix live adaptation.
Not
been cancelled yet.
Mm.
No. Unlike some other shows.
Worked.
And then, as we have on down there somewhere, I think I can point. Yes, there we are. Look down there. Excellent. We have Nasuth.
Hi.
In the manga format.
Just getting scribbled on, I guess.
Is he manga or live novel?
Ooh, no, that's manga. It's definitely not light novel.
He's not light novel. He's definitely manga.
I mean,
okay.
if it was light novel, it would have like the entirety description of Nasuth plastered all over it. Yeah.
That time I got reincarnated into a Thinswave universe.
VTuber.
Yeah.
That time I was reincarnated as a VTuber and spent all my time on Twitch trying to play games that no one likes and get really sad, but I'll continue it because I'm happy playing these games.
That's right.
Hey. He now has the Majora's Mask texture pack.
That's true.
That's true.
That looks so cool, by the way. Just a random time.
It does look really good.
So pretty
oh my god.
Yep. Right, but we're not here to talk about Majora's Mask, as fun as that would be. We are here to talk about anime. So, but before I begin, I must do the housekeeping, which is being typed in as I speak. So firstly, housekeeping. If you're a supporter watching this on early access, the timestamps may not be ready yet, but for everyone watching at the normal time, you can navigate to any section you want using the timestamp or chapter feature, which you can click on the chapter. Where is it you click? Because there's the secret chapter YouTube thing, isn't there?
So you have like underneath Nasuth, there'll be like the seek bar, right? Where it slowly fills up with red as the episode goes along. Underneath that, you've got your main controls, but you'll see
play and pause and
yeah. But in the middle, pretty much there'll be like the little chapter title. So this will be like the housekeeping section. So it'll say housekeeping there, or either that, or it'll say intro. And then you click on that, and then on the right hand side of the video, like next to me, it will have the actual chapters listed out like it was a playlist. If you're not full screen.
Right, yes.
Full screen, it won't appear.
What a stupid thing to put it there only when you watch it in certain formats and things. It's just there. So have a go. Click on that thing and pop it out. Yep.
YouTube's weird.
Always good. Can I also, for housekeeping, for the supporters, suggest the same thing I suggested for 10 o'clock?
Yeah, go for it.
Right, so another thing for anyone who's on Xeno's Patreon, which there is a link in the description of this video if you would like to help him out in supporting making all of his wonderful videos and his many wonderful channels, we're adding I've put a new suggestion for people if they would like to try it out. I'm not sure what tier this be, that's down to Xeno, and I'm sure he'll talk to his patrons about it, but instead of just replying with text, I think it would be kind of cool if people could submit video replies. You'd submit a video, probably I'd say at 30 seconds length. It will be vetted, so there won't be any language that's over unacceptable for what we put in here, but generally I think we'd be pretty lax on these things. But 30 seconds in length, and you'd put it, we'd then play it on here, and that way we could respond to it. So it'd be, if you wanted just to say, film a wall, but put your voice into the episode, or to send a message that way, I just think it would give people more options. Or if you wanted to directly show us a piece of media or footage, or what do you think about this versus this, or make your entire 30-second video describing a concept to us, just to give people more options. So if you're interested in that, please let us know either in the description or in Xeno's Patreon, because I think it would be a cool addition.
That is actually a really cool idea.
Yeah.
And Nasuth's totally going to steal it.
Yes. Yeah, no.
All patrons should look the same anyway. You got another thing to talk about?
I've also got the thing, which oh yes, it has finished typing now. I thought he was actually just typing news, but it actually says new news this week segment. What? New news this week segment. It'll only in the episode if there's stuff we feel were to... yes. Okay. This is something I've asked for. That's a full sentence there. So, one thing we're probably going to start adding to the episode, probably at the start, is sort of like this week in anime news segment, so that we're giving you a bit of news and we can talk about some cool things. I think we might even add it for this one, just lightly, just as a start this week, to discuss
we've got
something.
Two things.
We've got two things. Oh, there is actually a section on it. Wow, okay, so we're going to get to that in a second. Okay, cool. So, yeah. So, shall I move on to that then? Shall we move on?
Yeah,
cool. So, we're moving on to anime news this week. We might change that title to something else, but just so we can actually discuss news as well when things happen. So the first one, Netflix live adaptation of Cowboy Bebop has been cancelled.
I still haven't touched it, and I never will.
What do we think?
Yeah.
I good.
I'm
sorry.
Okay,
no.
Let's point out, first of all, Xeno, I think, is the only one of us three who's actually seen the net. I just haven't found the time.
I've seen enough.
Yes, I've seen it.
So one thing I want to say is I'm sad for all the people that worked on it that the adaptation has been cancelled, because all of a sudden their jobs have just gone, well, fuck, right? Yeah. I used to work in this sort of industry where I had to find new jobs every 6 months, and it was a downright killer, especially when you're being paid threepence, right? So it really, really sucks. So my heart's out to them. I am glad though that the project was cancelled, because the source was just trashed, right? It's like what they have done to Cowboy Bebop, it just doesn't hold up, right? So I really hope that the actors find new work relatively sharpish. But I'm glad it's been cancelled, honestly.
It really exemplifies why the Netflix adaptation is a meme. I haven't seen it, but I've seen enough.
How much have you actually seen? Have you actually seen an episode?
No.
Okay,
nope.
fair.
I've seen the Ed scene in full, and that was enough for me.
Yeah.
That is just wrong.
And I've heard other things, and like, it's like none of it sounds good.
The end scene, but like so much of it is good, because I like the fact that they were actually exploring and hunting down the bounties rather than in the anime where they just find them, right? They have, like, they just trip over them and say, oh look, there's one of the people we got to find, right? Like, so I much preferred it in that regard.
But it did have some good potential that could have been expanded upon, which you would have enjoyed.
Yes. But the massive change in the narrative at the end of the first season was just like, what the living hell. And then the abomination that they turned Ed into was just like, that's not Ed. That is like, you had issues with the aesthetic change to the character costume for Faye, and I completely appreciate that. But that was just not Ed. Yeah. It looked like Ed, but it didn't talk or act like Ed.
Yeah, I could have gotten past the costume change if the character holds up. But with Ed, they tried to make it look like Ed, but it didn't. It just
didn't hold up.
Oof. Yeah.
It was awful.
I love terrible things, but I'm staying far, far away from this.
Yeah, it's a shame, because I know, we had I think one of the early episodes we were complaining about it, but on our deepest down parts of our hearts, we actually want these things to succeed, because if it brings more people to the anime, or it brings more people to the concept, it's cool. But these things keep getting made, and then instead of just they said that it was there was actually I think something different. So if these things were made with respect for the original material in their heart, and maybe they want to expand on it slightly or change the little things, but the things that were changed were just to put people in their place. Like, so for all the things to do with Faye's costume, then we decide, we've got to have a scene with Spike with his shirt off, getting all sweaty.
That does happen in the anime.
Yeah, does it?
Yeah.
Okay, I can't remember that.
No, it does happen. He's working out.
Topless?
Yeah, topless.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, I saw somebody criticizing that. I can't remember that scene in the anime myself. Fair enough. I should really watch it again.
It's either in the anime or it's in the movie. But to me, that still counts.
Yeah.
Right? Because the movie is so damn good. The movie.
Really
I wish every episode of the anime was done as well as the movie.
Fair. Okay, but then I've heard that for other characters they were changed or adapted in ways which
the stuff that happened to Gren and
yeah.
Well, they made such a big thing in terms of advertising. Oh, Gren. It's like barely in it.
Yeah,
Gren was in it more in the anime than in the live-action adaptation, right?
And he was only in like what, 1 or 2 episodes?
It was in 2 episodes in the anime. In this was in, I want to say nearly all of them, but had maybe 1 line in each episode. I was like, this is not worth the character. You are butchering this character.
Would have been better to have just 1 episode focused on Gren.
And I'm going to say this right now. The guy that they got to play Jet Black, fucking top notch. Seriously, his performance, I really loved it. I felt the whole thing the entire time.
Yeah, if nothing else, hopefully he gets some good work out of this because everything I've seen showed him as the best.
I've heard that as well. But the changes they made to his character, the baggage they added on his character just to take him down a peg.
It didn't really take him down a peg that much.
They gave him a wife, they gave him a family, ex-wife. Then they gave him then they divorced him, then they made him basically a bit of a deadbeat dad.
But he had a fiance in the anime.
Right? So what
he didn't get as far as actually having a kid.
Yeah. The key point to play it off that I saw somebody describing this, I was looking at some breakdowns, is that if you look at the characters in the anime, they're almost like how to describe free spirits that move around and are not hankered down by rigid
reality.
Things. They're free, and by giving him,
I definitely
more the feel of it than the actual thing of it. That's what they are. They're bounty hunters. They don't really have houses and stocks and investment portfolios and retirement funds. They're not that kind of people. They are out there bounty hunting. Way. And so by taking his character and then anchoring him with an ex-wife and a kid, it's almost like...
But it doesn't... It gives him more motivation than it does prevent him from doing anything else. Like, all the actions that he does in the anime are the same as he does in the live action, but there's more of a reason to why he's doing it, because it's never exposed to why did Jet go down the path of a bounty hunter, right? It was just
did you need it?
That's the point, though, isn't it? So in the anime, I don't think it's needed at all, especially considering how brief the episodes are. But in the properly full-length episodes of the live action, I think it's a benefit because, what else are you going to fill the time with? Like, you just get to a point where you're just like, yeah, but I want to know more about him.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever really a bad idea to have... Well, okay, sometimes it could be, but in general, it's not a bad idea to have a little more backstory and grounding for your characters.
It really depends on the source material, and I do not think the live action could hold up if they treated it too much like the anime. And they did to begin with. They really did. There was one part of... I think it was like the first episode where they literally have a camera chasing Spike's feet as he's walking, and it's like, okay, I know you have this in the anime, but that's to show off how good the animation is.
Yeah.
Right? How it doesn't work when you actually have someone walking down a street. Yeah? You're not showing off anything. You're not showing off any good cinematography, you're not showing off any good anything.
Yeah.
It's simply added in to copy the same shot. It doesn't add anything by showing, look, this actor can copy the same thing.
There's no.
Yeah. Like if they did different angles, if they did different pitches on yours, on the actual camera. Like, again, that could have all worked, but they didn't. It was just shot for shot the same, and it did not translate well at all.
That's a shame.
Right.
Anyway,
well,
next.
So sadly, so the point is,
becomes an episode about Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, I think that's... Well, Xeno's the only one who's watched it, so we can't really go any more than that.
Yeah.
But so it's been cancelled. We are sorry for all the people who worked hard on it. It's also more the people behind the scenes. I think actors will land on their feet, but I'm sure there's some people who are like, yes, I'm on this. It's going to be several seasons, and I'm going to get some good work. I do hope everyone... I mean, they're Netflix, so hopefully they'll be reallocated to other programs and things. Right, but there's another point on this, which says, the trailer for the anime movie Bubble. Dropped on Netflix's YouTube channel, and it certainly looks interesting. It'll be airing on April 28th, 2022.
There'll be a link in the description below.
Bubble? What's Bubble?
It's an anime movie. Honestly, I watched it. And
Is this original?
Like, it looks original, yeah. Like, it's... So, effectively, like... it seems like there's some disaster that's happened where... I don't know, like, gravity's just gone completely and utterly... skew-if in Tokyo. Tokyo's half submerged in water now, and I think it might be all of Japan or something like this. But yeah, it looks really interesting. It really caught my eye, and I was like, "There's no exclamation mark."
Yes, sir.
Gravity is broken. Leap as you like. Interesting.
Yeah. So
and there seems to be like gangs of people with masks. And...
and parkour and all sorts of weird. So I was just like. I saw the trailer and I was just like, this looks really genuinely interesting. So, yeah, thought I'd add it.
Well, hopefully that's a positive that Netflix can learn from. Oh, yeah, the city's like completely covered in water. That's really interesting.
Sounds, The description makes it sound really good.
Yep.
Well, we'll have to look forward to that in, when was it? March?
No, April 28th.
Apparently,
April 28th, 2022.
These are some pretty big name actors in it, too.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, it's nice that we're getting to the time of year where we're starting to get some cool things to look forward to for 2022.
Indeed.
Kind of cool. 2022. That's kind of cool. So yeah, there's that to look forward to. And as we say, link in the description to have a look at that. But let us move on and talk about our topic for this week, which is going to be military in anime. Right. Now, where do we want to start? Do we really want to start? I see it's listed in my list from Discord. Do we really want to start on me ranting about Gundam?
Oh, no. These
or
are
would
just,
you two want to pick a small one to start with?
I think let's talk. Well, I'm trying to get it to.
Or do you want to?
Change it, and it's not wanting to change.
Okay. Well, while you're doing that, I'll just ramble a bit general. So one of the reasons why we got this up is obviously. There are some animes which are focusing on military, but military and action and adventure, the military comes up a lot in these kind of animes in a wide use. But I think anyone who's watched a few bits of anime could agree the way that the military is portrayed is often quite different than you'd see in sort of Western media. And there's some key things I want to go over this. Now, people don't... it's maybe history, but people often forget. First fact is that Japan is the only country in the world to be on the receiving end of nuclear weapons. Right, I'm not saying it's good or bad or anything like that, but it's still a fact. They are the only country that have been on the receiving end of a nuclear blast. And so this has affected them. Obviously, as an example, the whole Godzilla... what's it called? Mythos?
Yeah.
Mythos, has came out from that, and their hatred of, well, not hatred, but the sort of cultural sort of not fear, but sort of acceptance and unique look at the way that nuclear weapons exist and what they're used for. And this rolls out. Yeah, negative, but they're also positive. I mean, these weapons are useful. I mean, that's something I forget is that a lot of these anime. Nuclear equivalent weapons are still used, but it's like, oh, should we use it? Do we have the right to use it? That kind of stuff. It's interesting take on things, and also the same thing for their military. If anyone doesn't know, I'm not going to say I'm a complete factually accurate on this issue, but just to point out some other things. After World War II, Japan no longer has an army. They have a defense force, and the key difference there is that the defense force. I'm again, correct me if I'm wrong on this, anyone who's watching, is primarily supposed to operate only if the country is attacked. Yeah, they have I don't think they have aircraft carriers, but they have planes, they have tanks, they have soldiers, but they're not part of the military, they're part of the defense force. And so if Japan were to be, so because you can't, obviously have a country with no defenses at all, because then someone else can go in and just take all your stuff. So you've got to have some form of defense. So even that is interesting. It's different to everyone else. You look at America, Britain, Russia, China, India. We all have standing armies of tanks and planes and things. And, we can go in there and do things. Whereas Japan, it's different. Obviously because of historical reasons and the current take on things, whether for good or for bad. So, yeah.
So I'm pretty sure what you've said is accurate. So the JSDF.
JSDF. That's cool.
They. I'm pretty sure that's like, maybe I've taken that from anime too much, but as you said, they are meant to primarily to defend the country, and that's it. So again, the United States have or had. I'm not quite sure if they're still there. U.S. Army bases.
We basically occupied them for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, for a long ass time.
Yeah.
After World War
But also
II.
just to point out that it wasn't just occupying, you also then had the responsibility of defending them in that time as well.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, and then obviously there were talks about, well, what happens when America leaves? What happens when America can't defend us? What happens when America won't defend us? Mm-hmm. And then it became a case of they needed their own ability to defend themselves, and thus you got the JSDF. So, yeah, they're in very much a different, unique scenario. And again, after the events of World War II, it's very different how Japan looked at the use of nuclear weapons versus how America sees it. Like, Spider-Man bitten by a radioactive spider, right? And
the Hulk made from gamma rays.
Yeah,
but Godzilla, a giant radioactive monster.
Yes, yeah. That's a good comparison.
Yeah, so the big thing was that in Japan, radiation bad, radiation very bad, whereas in America is like radiation good, radiation superpowers, right? I mean, there's even a joke where, oh god, what's his name? So in Family Guy, the Griffins end up getting superpowers and things like this, and then Adam West, who's the mayor of Quahog, I think that's the name of the town.
That's the name, yeah.
He ends up jumping in some toxic waste or whatever to gain superpowers, and all he gets is cancer, right? And then
what a strange bedfellow to be in with Aqua Teen Hunger Force, where Master Shake tried to get superpowers by rolling in toxic waste and ended up melting. So, similar themes.
But yeah, so it's very much a case of that, there's very two distinct different outlooks on these sorts of weapons.
Yeah.
From the users. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and one thing I wanted to also raise, so this is a bit of a tangent now, is how the military is portrayed in like today's standards in both forms of media, right? So very much in movies in the West, you have your lone wolf character fighting against the bad military generals, or you have what's it called, the again, like the military guy that's so super macho and again still the lone wolf. But very rarely is there a positive representation of the military in the West, I feel. Right? I mean, the strongest one I can think of is the US Navy and NCIS. Right? But again, look at things like I watched Gemini just yesterday, and this guy who was a sniper for the US defense. Oh god, I don't know which part of the US military. You know, he ends up getting hunted by the like a bad, evil, corrupt military general.
No, yeah. Oh no, it is a general. Yes, yeah, you're right. That one is a general working with the senator.
Was there a senator?
Yeah, the sort of portly guy. I'm a U.S. senator, son.
No. You're thinking Shooter. I'm saying Gemini.
Oh, you said Gemini. Sorry. Oh, sorry. I'm thinking Shooter.
Yeah. But again, Shooter, right? It's same deal, right? You know, what's it called? A sniper for the U.S. Army gets ditched. His spotter friend gets murdered. Yeah, you've got the senator who's also like, you know, but again, it's another U.S. general that are like. There's this negative representation. I can rarely think of a positive movie like that. Does that make sense?
Stargate.
Huh? Stargate.
Well, not the movie, but the show. Because the movie did kind of make it seem like the military was just eager to blow stuff up.
Yeah, so again, I think you're right with that with the show. Again, like I said with the positive outlook of the NCIS, I think Stargate was the Air Force.
Yeah, so, but it's still Army.
But they had record highs.
Sorry, I should say it's still military.
Yeah, yeah. We know what you meant. But they had record highs of people signing up to it because of Stargate.
Stargate's, I think, is the only show actually... I don't think the word's endorsed is quite right, but officially supported and approved of by the US military.
They were NCIS?
No, I don't think it was. No, because NCIS, if you think about it, NCIS shows within the military people doing nasty things.
I suppose.
Whereas Stargate puts them in nothing but a positive light. You know, even if anything, it's more that the I think the civilian outfits.
What is happening in this picture?
We might talk about Rain eventually. That is a carnivorous horse, man-eating mad horse.
Okay. Well, we'll come back to that because I want to know what the fuck that is. But yeah, so it's you know this positive and negative light, and that was something I wanted to touch on, like with you know the different shows in anime, you know, the positive light that put on it.
If that's the case, let's start with the pro-Japanese propaganda with Gate.
We'll hit that button. Hopefully it will actually change.
Because I think this would be a good touchstone, because I call it propaganda. That's
why is Steins Gate in that?
That is a form of Gate.
Hold on.
Not quite the right Gate.
I think we may be having some technical issues with the VPN.
There we go.
No, I got it. So the problem with Gate is because Steins Gate has the word Gate.
Right, of course.
So I'm just going to add the year to it, and then it'll lock it into... There you go. Right, so you got nothing but Gate now.
This is Gate, also known as join the Japanese Defense Force and get waifus.
Yep.
And obtain waifus. So this is quite an interesting show. Do you want to introduce it, Xeno? Do you want to go for it?
So yeah, I've been rewatching this. It's a really interesting show where effectively it's both an isekai and reverse isekai as well, where effectively another world invades a part of Tokyo, and you know they try to lay siege and conquer Tokyo, but of course, you know, JSDF turn up, blow the shit out of these, you know, people on horseback, and like, yeah, we're good, you know, let's get a tank can deal with it. Oh yeah.
And then dragons.
And dragons.
Yeah, so, but I'll get to that in a second with the dragons. But the big thing is that, you know, now that they have defended Japan, they have to prevent it from continuing. So they build... I can't remember if they build a barrier straight away on our world side, on Japan, in Japan, or if they go I think they travel to the other side first to build a bunker.
Yeah, so what happens is an interdimensional portal opens in the middle of Tokyo.
Yep.
So, and then comes through it is people from a high fantasy world. So we've got dragons, but the primary people are people on horsebacks, with bows and arrows, maybe the odd magical sword. We don't get to that point, but that'd be the level of stuff you come out. And obviously they just start, from their side of view, they've just seen a magical portal, they go, we'll invade and capture people. But then they get forced back by even policemen having guns and things. And so eventually they retreat into the thing. Now, we've lost some people to the other side, and we've been attacked by some invaders. So what the Japanese Defense Force is they go through and they set up a perimeter and start defending the other side of the gate. Yep. The other side tries to reobtain their side of the gate and come up against machine guns and mortars.
Yeah,
nice.
So there's this one part where they actually have this sign. So Japan's put up a sign in both Japanese and their language that basically says, neutral zone, do not cross this point. If you cross this point, you will be shot and things like this. And, you got like tens of thousands of people on horseback and just soldiers on foot and things. And they start to charge. And also, they're getting mortared out of the air. You've got people in trenches with like, full-on machine guns, just shredding. Their shields do nothing, right? Yeah, exactly. So it's just like,
and obviously they have no idea what's going on. People are just falling over. But it then expands from there. And do you want to keep going?
So there's a lot of the high fantasy side of things with the elves, the magic,
house of waifus.
And there's also this big bond in the actual team. So like there's one team, there's one unit that's been put together to go and explore for resources, if memory serves, and they end up collecting some waifus. Waifus are a very important resource, don't you know?
Oh yes.
And they end up finding the aftermath of a fire-breathing dragon. They find, so it's and then they have to deal with the dragon when the dragon chases them down. It's a really, really good series, and especially considering how the difference in how they treat prisoners of war, right? So there's one instance that I kind of want to talk about where when the fantasy world invaded Japan, they obviously took prisoners, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But then while the fantasy people were in Japan, they were kidnapping people, right? They were, stealing people to to sell them off as slaves, right? So there were a bunch of people. I think there was like 3 or 4 people that are actually No, there was much more than that. There was like 12 people or 20 people or something. They were all kidnapped, and so few of them survived because they were just tortured to death and things like this. And so it was really interesting. There's also when the JSDF found out that they had captured people, like that really put the lines of communication like on hold, and they were like, "You will give us back our people now."
Yeah,
we're coming for them.
At that point, they'd already returned. They'd even captured some nobles of the attacking force that attacked into Tokyo. They'd captured a lot of them, and they'd returned them to the kingdoms that on the other side of the gate. But they actually still had some of the Tokyo citizens imprisoned.
They didn't even tell them.
They didn't even tell them. Yeah, they find one like quite later on, and they're like, no. So the portrayal, obviously, this then goes on, and I would love to see more seasons of this. It has 2 seasons, and it's just fun, But I would say, so the portrayal of the way the military is in this, so it is, I call it pro-JSDF propaganda. It does show the Japanese Defense Force as a very able team. You do see them doing things like, right, we need to assault this little fortress, and they work in good unison, and they attack dragons with unified airstrikes, with air superiority, with ground attacks and tanks, and they seem very organized and everything as time goes by. Even though it's really interesting, they make a note not really to show the effect of other militaries would have on it. There's only a few bits where some special forces, when they go back to Tokyo at one point, and other special forces want to try and capture the waifus from the gate, actually, or at least kill them. And I think their goal is to destabilize, like, oh look, Japan can't guard the people from the gate, we need to come in and take over. And I know, for example, China, it's not very, very anti-China. There's one scene where you see like leaders from China, and all they want to do is get like a third of their population and shove them through the gate.
Oh my god!
Wow.
Yeah, that's all the China's like. Oh yeah, why isn't it in our kingdom and in our region, and then we can get rid of some population to the other side of the gate. It's like, wow, okay, that's interesting, but it doesn't make mention of other militaries. I mean, I just keep thinking about the American military, because obviously it shows all these things that the Japanese Defense Force can do. I was like, but wait, if America was there, they'd be doing everything you're doing, but with 10 times as many people, tanks, and aircraft. Wow. Hell, they would have somehow find a way to bring through a bloody aircraft carrier. They'd have done it by now. But it's still very everything you're seeing there of the Japanese Defense Force. They are shown to be very very apt, very skilled, well equipped. Everything is very pro the Japanese Defense Force, and I do wonder if there was a little bit of funding from them in this. It's still good fun though.
In a strange way, I think this has a lot in common with one of the shows that's going on this season, which is Kyokai Senki.
Yes.
Do you want to say anything more about this one before we?
There's one last point I want to get. There's one last point I want to get on, which is to do with what negative points are in this. And this is something that comes in a lot of Japanese anime, and I think might actually be right for Kyokai Senki as well. Before we move over, is the only part of the Japanese side of things which is shown to be corrupt or not really for the best interest of everyone around them is the politicians. And when it comes to dealing with politicians, they have to come back through the gate and kind of justify what's going on. And it's the politicians that try and twist everything, the Japanese politicians, to make it look like the military is doing a bad job. Luckily, the waifus put them in a place. It's brilliant. It's a great scene. It's a brilliant, great scene where there's this Japanese senator trying to complain about what's going on, and then I think it's the black-haired girl. She's like, "Well, I'm 8,000 years old or something,
900.
Small child." So I think I know better than you. And it's a brilliant scene. But so it's seeing the politicians that. So yes, let's move into. I can never say this.
AMAIM, Warrior at the Borderline.
We're at the borderline. Right, now let's go.
Obviously, we don't want to talk too much about it because we'll be reviewing it fully in a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks.
So just focus on the military and the corruption.
So
and them themes. We love them themes.
I feel like we've got our plucky band of Japanese resistance fighters who are generally doing everything right. When there's a chance that they might get captured, they outsmart their enemies, and but you've also got you mentioned that they portray the Chinese in a very bad light in the other one, and I feel they do the same thing with this. It's the Asian military, but it's clearly the Chinese.
Yes, it's right.
and they're engaged in human trafficking, and they basically extort one of the mayors of one of the cities into giving them information. There's a lot of that going on.
Yeah, so you make a good point about that. So this show almost, I feel, this is, where's the other one's propaganda? This is kind of showing the fears, the deep. Obviously, they had the sort of the American takeover after the Second World War, and so they were defending about it. This is almost like, well, how else can that go? Because my understanding is almost Japan is split into 3 different factions, 3 different areas where they're being I don't want to say word subjugated, but each one is a protectorate of a different global power. So that Japan is almost invaded 3 ways. And you make your point. I think that the Chinese one, or the red one, I think it's supposed to be China and Russia, but it's very Chinese, they are not seen to be governing the Japanese regions at all well. Let's just say that. It's real bad for them.
But it does portray the actual Japanese force, the resistance fighters, in a very good, a very positive light. Like nothing they do is ever really wrong or shady or.
I see what you mean. Yeah, they've never had to make it. They're even supplied, I think, by Sweden or something, or is it someone in Europe is actually supplying them?
Yeah,
obviously because it's the other side of the world, and they're never seen as morally grey, like they have to abandon a village that's about to get attacked just so they can survive, or they have to, steal the power resource of a village so that they can keep fighting. Right. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Exactly.
It's very In fact, they even make villages for people.
It's very pro people, very pro people, which I like. But yeah, you could say it's definitely a little on the propaganda side in that regard.
Yeah. It does portray the foreign military. I don't think so. There's 3 foreign militaries. I can obviously the ones that are in red, and clearly China is easy to pick out. But there's 2 others.
It's the Asians, the Eurasians, which I think is the the UK and Russia, and then the Americans. That's Oceania or something like that.
Yes, Eurasia, probably Eurasia and Oceania, that kind of thing, because everyone's in 1984. But I can't really, though we haven't seen that many bad things about them, it's not portraying even them in a positive light. None of the regions that are occupied, being
so
occupied
far, the Americans have gotten it the best.
Yeah, who's using the? Is it the Eurasian/Russians that are the mass-produced strategy?
Yes, yeah, because he's a little rich kid and thinks that he can make up for quality with quantity. Yep.
Yep. And in fact, they're even within Japan, they're invading each other and not even looking, because there was that they invaded the port. Do you remember?
Yes, the
One
Eurasians
faction
came and
invaded
attacked
the port.
the Asians. Yep.
So even that's like, we'll just invade this other region. Don't care about the civilians. So yeah, definitely a bit of anti-foreign propaganda again for the military.
A little bit there.
Yeah. Right, should we move on to the one of Xenos?
Yeah,
Sure.
So I actually want to talk about an instance where military bad with Golden Kamuy.
Oh, right. So I've started this show, but I have not managed to finish it. It is beautiful and it's intriguing, but it's very grounded.
Yes. Like, in all honesty, like, people should go check this one out. I've watched it years ago, and I'm trying to remember the full depth of it. But basically, this is off the back of a war between Japan and Russia. And there are different races, much like in countries like Vietnam right now, where there are loads of different ethnicities of individuals across all of Vietnam. It was very much the same way with Japan, where you had different people of different cultures and races, not just Japanese. And there's a story that basically is focused around, I want to say, Western Japan, where effectively this girl's father has hidden away an absolute truck ton of gold somewhere in that region of Japan, and the military have found out, or different parts of the military have found out, and they're all trying to get their hands on it. And this girl and the immortal him, it's the guy on the right, what's his name, the mortal something,
Jojo. It's Jojo.
It's not Jojo.
he's got Jojo's hat. It's Jojo.
Yeah. The immortal Jojo. There you go. He's working with the girl, and they're trying to find it, but they're more trying to find out where the girl's father is, because he's been captured again by the Japanese military and hidden away. There's different factions within the Japanese military trying to hunt down the gold. Lots and lots of bad people. It does actually have a very JoJo vibe in terms of the atmosphere and the pacing and things. God, that's really gonna drive me up the wall what the character's name is.
I'll just Google it quickly.
Yeah. You keep talking, I'll work on it.
But I like this. I really, really enjoy the series. I think you have instances where the bad Japanese military are occupying small fishing towns, and yeah, honestly, it's a great series. So
is it pro-military, anti-military?
I feel it's more anti Sugimoto. There we go. That's him.
Can you scroll up? Does it say what time period this is set in?
I think it's like 18...
in the early 20th century.
Yeah.
So the early 1900s.
Russo-Japanese War.
Yeah. So
Seiichi Immortal Sugimoto.
That's a very, as if I call right, early 20th century is quite a bit of an upheaval for Japan still. That they are still trying to move forward into the modern age.
The industrial era, yeah.
Yeah, well, actually, it's more that the modern world has expanded and is trying to reach every corner of the globe, and thus they are being forced to catch up with things.
Yeah.
and you've still got this sort of traditional ancient culture.
We talked about that a bit in the
modern one. Yeah.
In the Star Wars Visions episode with, oh god, what was it called? Lopin, the other one? Lopin, her friend? Lopin Outtro, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So it's a very interesting time, and it's nice to see more anime put there. And this is a super grounded show. I mean, I wasn't in the right frame of mind to watch it, but like, we're not talking anything fantasy. There's no fantasy, no magic or anything. Like, literally, characters are like, oh no, I've gotten in this really cold, icy water in the middle of winter. I have to get warm in the next 5 minutes, or we're gonna die. And it's like, wow,
that's pretty cool, though.
It is. It is quite grounded in the way it does things. It is, this. I could watch them. It's almost like a serious movie. It's so good. It is so good. But I wasn't in the right frame. I wanted some fantasy at the time, I think, and I wanted to go watch something with, I don't know, robots or something. It is so good. It is. The animation is really nice, and as you say, it's like JoJo, but JoJo in the real world in this period. It's like really, as I say, grounded. And
just browsing screenshots for this, it looks like there's a little bit of humor in it too.
Oh yeah.
Especially with like some of the faces they pull.
Yeah, I mean, but what life is entirely nothing but.
Oh sure, yeah.
No. They feel like real, well-rounded people.
So one of the common reoccurring jokes is that when our duo combine forces, when they meet up and things, like the girl is teaching them about all the different ways her people prepares food and things like this. And because he's come back from this war and things, he has this sort of like canteen, right, that is full of like miso soup, not powder, but it's kind of like a jelly or something like this, and she constantly refers to it as poo, right? And she thinks that he is putting poo in his food, right? But it's like this miso soup jelly kind of stuff,
right?
That it's like, so, and it's dissolving into the food that they're eating, and it just makes it taste. And when she eventually eats it, she falls in love with it, and she just basically goes, "Oh my god, I like poo now."
I assume that's some sort of clever method of storing food for long-term and usage by like taking all the moisture out of it, so it doesn't go off as easily.
Yeah, but it's not powdered or something like that.
No, it's not powdered. No. But that's because back then it probably wasn't that easy to just powder things like we do now.
It's condensed. Things. It's condensed.
Yeah. So, and again, like, it's a brilliant series, but again, it really depicts like the military in this one will stop at nothing to get their hands on the gold. And they'll happily kill people, they'll happily imprison people, torture them, you name it, right? And again, it's just nice to have that contrast difference of military good, military bad. It makes them feel like they're not playing favorites.
Are you sure we're not watching JoJo here?
Yeah, I was gonna say, this looks like very JoJo.
Yeah, so this is I think season 3. So, but yeah, I'll have to.
You dare pose at me?
It's honestly, it's a really, really good series, and it's better to watch in bulk because it's easier to remember that way. So yeah, there we go. So, do you want to move on to the next one?
Sure.
Nasuth, you pick one.
Oh, me? All right.
No. I've only got 3. One
goodness.
that I want to play late, one that's right for the end, and then one at some point when I'm going to sit down with Gundam.
We've talked about military good. We've talked about military bad. What about military that's kind of ambiguous?
Ooh, go for it.
So,
this is pretty.
This movie is so good. I didn't think I was gonna like it. Somebody like basically kind of forced me to watch it, and I love it now. So this is set in an alternate world where at the end of World War II, Japan was subjugated by the Germans rather than the USA.
It was just...
Oh, okay.
And our main character here, who has the perfect name. His name is Fuse. Works for a group of Japanese soldiers that are basically an anti-terrorism unit, but they get like just insanely powerful gear, like the suit you saw him in earlier, and these massive guns, and just it's crazy. But the story revolves around him. They're tracking a terrorist through the sewers, and he hesitates in killing her, like, because she just looks like, such a young, innocent girl. There's, can he really do this? And so she detonates a bomb. Only manages to kill herself, of course, because he's got this super badass armor. But this seems to haunt him for the rest of the movie. To the point that when he meets, he visits her grave and sees another girl who looks just like her. And now he wants to, protect her and be around her and all this stuff. There's some intrigue that goes on later. I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to spoil it, but it becomes a struggle between this military unit and a unit in the government who want to get rid of them.
Sorry. I'm putting up the spoiler tags. I'm trying to put up the spoiler tags. Can you put up the spoiler tags? I want you to spoil this because I know I've watched this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it Donks ago, but I honestly cannot remember. All I remember is being horribly confused because he should. How do I describe this? I can't remember why, but he ends up getting the equipment back and things, because I think he falls into a point of self-doubt of whether or not his team is there for a I can't remember this. So can you lay it out?
So it turns out that this other girl who looks just like the girl he killed is a plant. She was a terrorist who was captured by this other force, and basically they blackmailed her into being a spy for them with the special defense. I can't remember the name. I've actually got it. Here's somewhere. The Kerberos Panzerkorps. That's their name. So and their rivals in the government are the Public Security Force. And so they send her in as a spy to try and discredit the Panzer unit. And it seems like it's going to work at first, but in reality, she admits what's going on, and so they don't fall into the trap. Our Panzer cops don't fall into the trap. They end up luring the security force down to where they can take care of them. And so he's part of the Wolf Brigade. The Wolf Brigade, which is a small unit of very special elite soldiers within the Panzer unit. And so they all show up to give him his armor back and his weapons and basically say, you did this, now you have to fix it. And in the end, he does. And they do back him up. But in the end, he ends up having to kill the girl that he is in love with and does not want to kill. She begs him to run away with her, and he's like, I can't. Gotta stay with my wolf pack.
But why does he kill her? That's part of what I don't understand.
Because if he doesn't, if he runs away with her, they'll never be safe. They will always be hunted by both the Wolf Brigade and the Special Security Force, or the Defense Force. And he can't just let her go because they could capture her again and use her against him. So the only solution is to kill her. From their perspective.
Surely you could fake her death.
Maybe they don't have enough that much power because they're only a unit within the government.
Don't get me wrong. I remember having this problem with the movie before. It was I just don't understand why he turned around and just went, "No, I gotta murder you all now."
No, he didn't murder all of them. Just her.
Was it just her?
Oh well, her and the people that were trying to get rid of the Kerberos force.
Yeah.
Because they were going to kill him anyway.
Oh, so they were using him and they were going to kill him in the end anyway.
He didn't know they were using her to lure him and the rest of the Panzer cops into a trap. And basically discredit them, kill as many of them as they could, discredit the rest, and get rid of that as a force in Japan. I don't remember exactly why, to be honest. I think they had their own agenda about what was going on. Because again, this is occupied Japan, so they probably had something that they wanted to do as well. Maybe they wanted to support the terrorists. I don't actually remember. But it's
thinking.
The themes are that the military has a lot of gray areas in it. No side is necessarily good. And it can being a part of this can really like deaden your humanity in certain ways. Like hesitating before is what allowed the security force to basically pull this trap on him. So he can't hesitate now. He has to actually show he's a wolf.
Xeno
was thinking. Yeah, no, I mean it's a really interesting look at it because like I don't know where you would actually classify this in terms of like military good, military bad.
Yeah,
it feels more like military is military.
It's such a gray area because there's spying and counter spying and are you protecting the people? Are you hurting the people? It's there's no good side here, I don't think. But there's also no real bad side. Like none of them have clean hands, but all of them think they're doing what's right.
Yeah, no, it's a very interesting way of looking at it because it doesn't feel like as we were saying before that there is no right and wrong. It is just like do or do not.
Mm-hmm. Kinda, yeah. It's really good. I highly recommend people watch it. It's just a movie, so it won't take you too long to get through. I know we're not doing recommendations here, but I do recommend you watch it.
Okay. I might rewatch it and go from there. But yeah, I just remember coming away from watching this, I was like really confused.
That's fair.
So, okay. What about now we're gonna give one to Loz. Loz, what do you want to talk about?
Oh well,
you've got so many Gundams to choose from.
No, I want to do Muv-Luv first because it's still kind of the same feel actually, and I'll explain why.
I got it.
So the reason why I got Muv-Luv here, which will probably actually come up a bit more because I'll do a proper thing of it when the season's finished. But this is there's Muv-Luv Alternative. I know it says in the corner, but there's also Muv-Luv Alternative Total Eclipse, which actually is what I'm more talking about because the Muv-Luv, this is such a brain changer. I don't know who decided to do this. Japan's being invaded by aliens, and then it's all about a guy, and we got multi-dimensional theory as well as a guy who kind of hops between dimensions because of what happens in one dimension and a thing in the other. And so in one dimension, the Muv-Luv side of things, the first bit of the game, I think it's just like a guy normal, which what's visual novel at a school, which girls they end up with. But then he gets moved into the alternative worlds, which there we go, wait for that one to come up. This is the alternative world in which the world is being invaded by a weird alien menace called the Beta, which is an acronym for something. And to defend themselves, they build all these giant robots. As you do. Again, so the key themes in this of some of the key points that happen in the timeline of the invasion of Japan is there's the aliens build these sort of like hives, and you think if the world was being invaded by aliens that we'd all come together and we just all bloody care about killing the freaking aliens as best we could. Instead, it's all about geopolitics and the UN and the US and the internal politics of ruling Japan and things. And there's coup d'etats in Japan and things because what that led from is because the aliens capture Western Japan and they start building a hive, and they basically build a super nuke. I can't remember what it's called, like a gravibomb or something. And the first test of this is on Japanese soil to blow up one of these hives. But the destructive force of it is just huge. It just levels the hive and the surrounding area. So it's like it devastates everything. And you might think that'll be a solution. We'll just keep chucking these at the aliens. It's like, well, we won't have much of a planet left if we keep doing that. So that's part of it as well. You've also got the US kind of there. They've got like fleet actions around the island, but they won't attack indirectly. And then the key thing with the Muv-Luv Alternative Total Eclipse, which Total Eclipse drops the whole I watched that first. And it takes the premise, it drops the whole visual novel side of things, and it focuses primarily on the development of the robotic suits and other weapons to combat them. Which I finding it a much better show than this multi-dimensional hopping stuff we're getting on the in this alternative. It's just because I looked up about what caused it, and I maybe I'll save that, explain that at the end of the day. But yeah, we're focusing on just the military. But at the same time, and I hope it pops up. So the aliens, majority are like these crawling creatures with big stabby arms, and they're quite tough. The problem is the biggest threat I think they face from the aliens is there's this little bug-eyed one which shoots lasers. There is one picture, I don't know when it'll pop up, that can one-shot their mechs. Everything else, they can fly. Most of these aliens can't, but if they fly, it's obvious the long-range laser, tiny little aliens can easily shoot them. Right, that's the big threat to them. But I don't get the same time. So you could build. Another key thing is the laser aliens won't shoot their allies, and they know this. They've seen it. Apart from mainly they won't shoot their allies because the lasers are very devastating. It's a very devastating weapon, the alien laser. So why don't they just build lots of low-level guns that just shoot? Guns work fine. But the key thing is, I suppose, that the aliens their main strategy is just attacking wave after wave after wave, to the point that it's a common thing that the first time a pilot goes out in one of these mechs, they call it the 8 minutes of death. If you can survive 8 minutes in combat with the enemy, you'll likely survive a long time. But most pilots don't survive 8 minutes in combat with the enemy. It's that's the attrition rate that they have. It's absolutely ridiculous, and they just keep on like, we've got to still have our geopolitics. We've still got to have.
So build these super powerful mechs that are probably not going to survive.
We've got to build super powerful mechs that can survive maybe, at most 8 minutes. Yeah. Because the laser, there we go. These are the laser ones, and they're tiny. They're only about as big as a person, but they can shoot long range. And if you fly up in your mech, and they're on the battlefield, they will just one shot you. You know, if you're not quick enough.
I have questions.
Yes.
Don't think you'll get answers.
Well, I can try.
How much do these mechs cost?
I don't know, but they're able to develop lots of them.
Okay. When they get one shot, do you mean that they fire some kind of telepathic beam, and the pilot's heads explode, leaving the mechs perfectly fine? Or are you telling me that the mechs are blowing up?
Mechs are blowing up.
So I can only assume that these mechs must cost about the same as a paperweight. Otherwise, how the fuck do they keep producing them?
That's a good question, and that's why I like the Muv-Luv
Told you wouldn't get any answers.
More. They seem to have lots of. It's so weird about the development of those bloody mechs, and that's what the Total Eclipse stuff does. It does about it's like an American. So obviously Japan's one of the forward fronts, and if they lose Japan, basically when the aliens they're still mainly fighting a rearguard action against these aliens. The aliens are slowly taking over the world. And it's very interesting because this is why I want to bring this up, because it's just another way of like foreign invaders taking over Japan. We had like Russians and the Germans in that last one, and this is like even aliens taking over Japan. And I just point this out before I go back to Muv-Luv. I was thinking about like media for America, and even like stuff we do in Britain. Even if we're doing dramas, normally we do it somewhere else.
Yeah.
We it's a very outwardly facing view, whereas a lot of the stuff in Japan, like I can't think of any animes in which Japan is invading America, Japan is invading Australia. I can find animes where even Britain invades Japan with Code Geass.
That's what I was going to say.
Right after 9/11, you had more of that stuff in America. You had like 24 and whatnot, where things were happening in America.
But that's like spy level stuff. It's not military level stuff.
So what Loz is saying, like, there's very, like, we can't think of anything in Japan where Japan is invading another country.
Right.
It's always Japan is being invaded. Right, Japan is the battlefront. Is this like I feel this with a lot of American stuff as well. Like with military American stuff, it's other parts of the world. It's not America, right? Yeah. But with spy stuff, with just it's very domestic, right?
Yeah.
I'd love to see a show played in American television where you've got like fighting over Texas and you've got like, you know, drawing up battle lines and things. It'd be quite interesting the way they could do it. I mean, you see, it just feels wrong to Nasuth.
There's a couple I can think of. One is really old. It's a movie called Red Dawn, where it's the Cold War scare, right? Russia basically invades America and splits it in half, and it's all about these kids that are trying to survive. And then the other one was a series that only made it one season. I don't know if it really counts because it is set in America, but it's based on the biblical story of David. And America is separated into like 3 different territories that are fighting each other.
But okay, internal separation makes sense. I mean, you get that with Hunger Games,
right?
But it's not an external thing coming in. The only thing actually I can think of, I think Man in the High Castle, I think it was called. That is like if Germany won World War II, maybe. But it's very.
But if memory serves, that's the whole point of that. The premise of that show is the whole it's alternate realities things, because there's one reality where Germany didn't win and one reality where Germany did win.
I don't know. I just know that the premise.
I've only watched the first episode, because basically they find media where, you know, yay, Germany lost the war, congratulations, and it's like, we have to destroy this because otherwise we'll get into a lot of trouble. The fact that we found this, but they recognize that it was from a different timeline. So
but some people must never know.
So back to Muv-Luv, just to point out, one of the things I want to say about this is that, especially in Total Eclipse, you have the Japanese trying to develop new weapons to fight the aliens. They come up with they're trying to build beam weapon technology, and it is devastating. Obviously, so just to point, I just explain it. What happens is, so the whole goal of the aliens is to build these hives so that they can use the planet to produce rare elements, like super rare elements that don't normally exist on the Earth. And that's what powers the laser weaponry. That's what allows them to do all kinds of things with their weird creatures. And when eventually what happens is the Earth start capturing some of the hives, and then they get access to those minerals.
Right.
And then they can start building technology off of it. But one of the things the Japanese build in Total Eclipse is a massively powerful laser cannon. Obviously, that'd be great because you can use it at low level. And most of the enemies that you fight are waves of, you know, stompy troops. They're just big aliens. And so this is able to just take out a whole wave in one shot. But in Total Eclipse, the key thing is the Russians try and steal it from the Japanese.
Oh, God.
Right.
Yeah. So in Total Eclipse, even though you've got all these different working groups that are trying to, you know, you'd think trying to defeat the aliens is the main goal, they all still have their internal politics. Like, they do not portray any foreign group in a positive light. Even the Americans just don't care about the Japanese. They're just there to make their mechs better. It's so, it really does show the geopolitics of things in a negative way. I think maybe there is a little bit with like a UN group, which is what the main people are working for, which is seen in a not, you know, sort of positive way, but the majority of things like the American military are not seen as positive. Like they're getting attacked at some point with the aliens are starting an offense on like some of the islands offside Japan, and the American fleet that was supposed to be stationed near there just retreats away and just leaves the island to just take care of itself. It's just like, oh, thanks for that. So, yeah, not in the positive light, but it's really weird, this show. Really weird.
Seems like it, yeah.
I'll give you a better breakdown of like what the hell is going on with the main plot when we do a review of it.
It does seem interesting though.
Actually, if you want to see like understand about the aliens and the mech, just watch the first episode of Muv-Luv Alternative, because it does the first episode focuses on like one of these islands off the coast of Japan, and the whole process of the aliens coming out of the water and attacking, and then the different the first wave of aliens is just their low level grunts, then it gets more complex, and then their bigger tank things turn up, and then they start deploying the laser things, and eventually they just have to retreat. But that one episode shows you the whole. Yes. Oh yeah. Yep, you'll see. It's that one. If anything, I'd say just watch the first episode of Muv-Luv Alternative, and it'll give you a good feel for like the whole.
The 2021 one.
That's the one that's airing now. Yeah, Muv-Luv Alternative. Yeah, just that first episode. Yeah, right. But overall though, yeah, I don't know why they build these mechs if they only last 8 minutes on average. Very strange.
Well, yeah. So there's two different. I think honestly, in terms of the politics, I want to talk about Saga of Tanya the Evil.
Oh,
I love this show.
So honestly, this is an amazing show. It really, really is. It's another isekai, and if you haven't watched it, I strongly recommend go out and watch it. I'm surprised this has no tags. I would have thought this would have had like violence or something like that.
it may have been before we started really putting tags in. I don't know.
I can't remember. But anyway, so the big premise of Saga the Tanya the Evil is effectively a Japanese businessman is murdered and ends up facing God for a reincarnation. But businessman does not believe in God. Businessman, in fact, refuses to acknowledge God's existence and refers to God as being X, right? And to put businessman in his place, he gives him one last reincarnation somewhere that he effectively will be forced to believe in God. Right?
Just it's a key word there. You said one last reincarnation. I don't think people normally get reincarnations.
No, they do.
Oh, okay. Well, not with their memories intact and everything. In fact, as I recall,
very true.
When this guy gets pushed over, basically God freezes time to deal with this death that's about to happen, and just starts whinging. And then not only does the guy who goes, "Look, I don't believe in God. This is stupid," but God's like, "Well,
this is not very
your lack of belief is annoying," and it's like the whole. It makes allusion to there's too many people in the system now, and the lack of belief is annoying or something, or causing problems. And so he tries to see, hang on, I've got a soul here which doesn't believe in me and is being actually anti towards me. Let's see if I can put him in a setting in which he will be forced to believe and pray to me.
Yeah, but he's also told that this is the last incarnation he's going to have, right? But as Loz too rightly pointed out, this is the as far as we're aware, the only incarnation where he has his memories intact, where anyone has their memories intact. And he gets put into the body of a little orphan girl from not Germany.
Yeah,
right?
so the setting is
an alternative pre-World War One in Europe, right? So like Germany's not called Germany, it's called the Fatherland. France is called, is it the Republic?
Yeah, I think it is.
What you call it? The UK is I think it's like the I can't remember what the UK is, but it's something alliance. Russia, I can't remember, and so and basically, not Germany is having to fight these battles on all different fronts, and Tanya, like everyone else in any isekai, has an extremely powerful magical affinity. Right.
So that was the key point that you didn't mention. It's alternative World War One, but with magic.
Yep, there we go, with magic. So she has very high magical affinity, and at the age of 10, she actually, I don't know if conscription is not the right word. She basically she volunteers to be part of the military because she recognizes that they're on the brink of World War One, and if she excels at being like in the military, she could get a cushy life at the end of it, and that's what businessman wanted for the whole of his life. He wanted a cushy life.
Well, that too, but also the gods saying, "I'm going to put you in a world where you're going to have to pray to me and things," and the businessman said, "Well, I'll prove you wrong." And it's like, right, I'm in a world that's about to be at war. Where's the safest place? Rearguard action in the military, because in the military you can, if you up in the military higher up and you're in the rear, you can put yourself in a safe bunker, you can just do some bureaucracy work, you can work after troops. So if you excel and then get yourself into one of those cushy back jobs, nothing's going to happen to you.
Yeah. So Tanya ends up having to, and this is the part of the military that I want to focus on. I don't want to focus on the whole of the anime, but I want to focus on the fact how she is involved with the strategy department of the military, how she's able to recognize different key locations, different mentalities of her opposition, and how very rarely you see the bureaucrats, the politicians come in and try to, I want to say, meddle with the way that the military are doing things. To one point where, not Germany has a plan that it's so critical it does not get leaked, because if it leaks, that's the end of not Germany. And the politicians, they're like, we don't believe in you, we think you're fucking this up, so on and so forth, we want you to do this, we want you to do that. And the strategists, right, the generals, they're having to basically stand their ground and just basically say, shut up, right, stop asking us for this information, we're not going to give it to you. And yeah, honestly, it's a phenomenal series. I will say it was hard to watch as it was being aired, but being able to binge watch it, because it's a lot older now, it's so enjoyable. Such a good series, especially with the interactions of Tanya in her various different bits of movement across the country, the way the military strategies are happening with deployments, how they used to have little tiny armies to stave off the battles, then one massive army that was there going around the country to push the enemies back, or to invade.
I think at one point,
countries.
that was their strategy, yeah.
And it just wasn't working. It was taking them too long to mobilize the mega army and things like this. And they came up with different strategies, or Tanya did. And yeah, I really, really like that. It really put it in a different light. Not only,
yeah,
and also like how she's called Tanya the Evil, or what was her name?
The Devil of the Rhine.
Yeah, which is the Rhine being one region, and I think she was scouting it out, and by herself, and then encounter magic. Just can point that part out, and she encounters a platoon of enemy soldiers, and she ends up wiping them all out, bar one, like one she couldn't kill. But
you gotta let one escape to warn or tell the other people how awful you are.
Are you talking about the first? I don't know if that's why she got called the Devil of the Rhine.
Yeah, it was.
Was it?
Yeah, I watched
thought that's why she won. Oh, okay. I thought that's why she got the cross. She gets. So her goal
that's how she gets it.
Oh, okay. She doesn't take them all out, does she? She takes a few out and then detonates herself.
No. She takes all of them bar one.
Yeah. But to the second to last, isn't she killed by attempting to suicide herself? Yeah, yes. And they think she's dead, but she's not.
Yeah, and she thinks that I'm going to get a cushy job now. I'm going to stay in the back lines because, I'm all beat up and I'm hurt, and it's like, you're so amazing. We're gonna. No. It's just like, you're so amazing. We're gonna send you to the research lab, and she fucking hates it because all the equipment she gets is the faultiest piece of shit in the universe. Excellent. And she's like, she's constantly blowing up in the air and things like this. And she's like, give me the front line. I'll take the front line. Just take me away from this hell.
Yeah, I do love it. So the key point is that she always is. She's trying to succeed so she can get up in the military, but all of her successes just get her into more dangerous situations, which just annoy her even more. Yeah. Then she decides to almost try and win the war on herself by changing tactics and submitting strategies to help them win. And they think, you're very good. So they get her to write down more strategies, and then they send her off to implement them. Yeah. It's like, but I just want to submit the strategies.
Yeah, I think at one point in time, she's like, wait a second, I know this.
It's like, wait a minute. Yeah. And there's also... it's interesting to see the way that they do the higher-ups. So the higher-ups do learn of her and do see her as a useful weapon and a useful tool. But you can see that if Tanya was in charge of the entire army, they would win this within 6 months.
Yep.
But the military look at it from a different side of things, and you get all these bureaucrats and things that are like, oh well, we can't extend ourselves there, we can't do this, and they even let France basically surrenders. They take over France because Tanya is thinking, right, if I want to survive, if I want to beat Being X, I have to win this war, and France sort of surrenders at one point. And it's only, and then Tanya realizes and thinks how what happened in World War One and what would happen, and that they knew they were losing France, so they sent a lot of their military into other regions, and tries to get the military to follow her orders to do an attack to catch them off guard before the boats can leave. But because of bureaucracy, they're like, "Oh no, we're having a ceasefire soon. We can't do it. You have to stand down." It's like, "No, I need to stop the. If we don't stop them now, they'll reach other regions, and then there'll be the enemy army in opposition from other sources. But we could smash them now if you just give me this equipment, and they won't do it for bureaucratic reasons."
So the big thing is it's an armistice, right? It's a temporary truce. Right, but it hasn't actually kicked in yet.
Yeah, but the surrendering faction are actually using this to move their military away from the region they're surrendering.
And when she tries to warn them, saying like, "No, we need to deal with this. We need to deal with this right now," because like, put yourself in their shoes, right? Are you really gonna lie down and not try and take your country back? Are you really getting that? And and in the end, it's too late, and they discover that. Not France has moved its entire military force somewhere else, and they're like, "Oh fuck!"
But they wouldn't listen to her due to the bureaucracy of things, and it's like that's what's holding back. It's interesting because that common thing for like we're saying for all this stuff, right? But however, I'm sure I can't see the time. What time are we at? 1 hour 20 is that?
Yes, actually.
Cool. Yeah. Very low thing, but that's good. Right, should we move on then? I fully recommend this. I've seen this anime at least three or four times. I need to finish watching the movie though. I've not finished watching the movie.
There is a second anime on its way.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, I'll finish that movie then.
Right. Okay. So who wants to pick one next?
I'll go ahead and go.
I just Muv-Luv. Gundam's going to be a big one, so
I've only got one left I want to talk about. But
right, what you got left, Nasuth?
I have two. Well, three technically. No, two. No, three. Three. Yes, but I definitely want to make sure I talk about this one at some point.
Go for it.
So this is Pumpkin Scissors. This actually came to me as a recommendation from the awesome Todd, who is one of my regulars when I go streaming. He's awesome. He really is awesome. So this is alternate Earth. I don't really. It's another world, set around like the similar technology level of like World War II, like just somewhere between World War II and World War One. They were just starting to make like really good armored tanks and such. And it's just after a war. So we get to see like the aftermath of things and how they think about how the military deals with that aftermath. It follows our Pumpkin Scissors, who is a small unit in the military, tasked with wartime relief. So they're going around the country trying to help people rebuild, trying to root out corruption where they see it. Our main character, our woman here, who is the leader of the Pumpkin Scissors, is actually also a noble. So she's also fighting against the corruption of the nobility, because there's a lot of that going around too. It's not just the military; it's the nobles. But it also deals with like the aftermath of what they did to some of their soldiers, because. Like this is revealed very early on, so it's not a spoiler. Our main character or not our main character. This guy here that we're seeing with pointing the gun at the tank was experimented on. Yeah, that's a tank. Yeah, he was experimented on. He basically was brainwashed and given lots of hypnotic suggestions, so that when he turns on this little light that he carries, he becomes just unstoppable. He becomes like a human tank, which is why he takes on the regular. He's literally a tank buster. His gun is this massive caliber that nobody should be able to handle, but he can. He ignores pain. He just shrugs it off. He's like a zombie. They just unstoppable. And there's other people that we see at least one other person who had this happen to them. Only for him, he can't take off his armor because he uses a flamethrower, and the flamethrower destroys his skin. So the only way for him to survive is to keep his armor on.
That's the other guy.
But that's the other guy, not this guy.
Yeah.
But he doesn't realize that about himself. He just thinks like, I'm cold. I'm always cold. I have to burn things. And it's just the toll it takes on humans, the toll it takes on the society, the corruption. It's so, there's just so many good things about it.
Okay, so first of all, why is it called Pumpkin Scissors?
That's the name of the team.
Yeah.
Is that the team name?
They didn't really explain it super well, I don't think, but it's because they're made to cut out corruption. They're supposed to do the
is that,
the
that's what I was
tough
wondering.
job.
Is that what they're inferring, like codename, like what pumpkins are? So they're the pumpkin scissors to go around and stop the pumpkins happening, kind of thing.
Well,
if that
pumpkin
was
scissors are an actual thing that are made to.
I flew off.
That's right. Get out of here, Shinji.
Get in the robot, Shinji.
Yeah, pumpkin scissors are like a real thing that you can use to carve pumpkins. It's designed to really get through the tough rind and make it easy to get to the goodness inside.
Ah, maybe that's what they're trying to do. Right, okay.
You can't really see here, but she's confronting an actual tank with just her little sword. She's like, I will stop you if I have to.
This looks post-World War II, but
it's right around that time, yeah.
But a bit more science fantasy-ish with
Yes.
the augmented humans.
Yeah. It's like, what if the Nazis what if the Nazis had actually managed to do some of their crazy ideas?
Or maybe they did. Dun, dun, dun.
I really don't want to give away the ending, but like, it's only 24 episodes. I really wish there was more. I get the sense that in the manga, there's a lot more to this story. Like, we get to see other units of this, other people of this rogue invisible unit.
Are we in the real world? As in, is it?
No, it's not.
Real world?
It is an alternative real world. No, there's no magic. It's just technology.
No. I mean, is it geographically our alternative world, or is it?
Yeah. I get the sense that it's somewhere in. I get the sense that it's somewhere in a European-like area because they are an empire. I'm not sure if they're supposed to be Russia or England or something, but it's that sort of feel.
So one thing I want to ask is, like, I swear I've seen this, right? But I don't have record, and I do not have high memories of it. I can't really remember. But the big question I have is, are the Pumpkin Scissors team sorting out their own military or resist? So they're actually cleaning up stuff of their own military, not of like resistance groups from. Right. Okay. So basically,
she's a noble, but she's on the side of the people. That is her whole motivation, is she wants to help the people.
So basically, we've got a situation where the war's over and military groups have decided, oh well, we're gonna occupy this small town and take all their shit for ourselves,
or sell military technology that they don't need anymore, or that sort of thing.
So so this group is literally there to clean up after the military, effectively.
Yeah. I mean, there is a point where there's a group of commoners who want to end up killing some nobles, and she's not on their side either. Like, she'll punish everyone equally if they need it. She's on the side of justice. But she also understands where they're coming from and wants to try and help give them a way out of it without violence or without them going to jail or any of that.
Okay. I honestly can't remember this too. So here we have a story of. Okay, so do you? I'm all over the place. Apologies.
That's fine.
So here we have a story where the military are taking responsibility for their troops, for their own actions.
Even though the rest of the military kind of looks down on the Pumpkin Scissors, they're also performing a duty that is sanctioned and needed.
Right.
So are these Pumpkin Scissors, like, is there more than one group?
No.
Or is it so everyone's looking down on this just one small group?
Yeah, because they're not doing glamorous military work, It's the same way that a lot of cops look down on internal investigations, right? Nobody
IRS,
wants to have
IRS.
IA.
IA. Internal Affairs, that was it.
Nobody wants to have their motives scrutinized, even if they're not doing anything wrong. So I think in a lot of ways that fuels the ridicule towards this group.
But if memory serves, pretty much everyone they come across is doing something wrong.
No, it's really only a few groups.
So it's not very villain of the week then.
No, gosh, no. There's a lot of helping out normal people, and there's a lot of looking into the backstory of our super soldier. But there's really only like 2 or 3, something like that, groups that are really. But they cover they span like several episodes, so it's not just one episode and done. It's like 3 or 4 or 5 episodes.
Okay, fair enough then. Loz, do you have any questions?
No. I to be honest, I don't want to spoil it too much because I want to go watch this one. It looks really good.
It is really good.
Fair enough.
I
love
the whole ending arc was just amazing.
Yeah, so I assume it could be that some of the situations they get themselves can be really interesting because this is post-war, and obviously in a war, as you said about the royalty, again it's the higher ups, the scene, the amount of things they can get away with, when a war's going on, and obviously they're going to have to go around and they're trying to put the country back together is their basic goal. Yeah, but they're also sort of like a pseudo military police at the same time, is why they're looked down on because they're not there to defend the country. They're almost like keeping the country to a standard while trying to look after it, and it's like they're more not really military.
I mean, they are defending the country. They're just doing it in a different way,
Yes, but that you've just come out of a war, and in a war, you look at the you almost you would turn a blind eye for things going on in the country because you have to defend against the outside.
Right, exactly.
And so they still have this mentality. They've had that for years, and all of a sudden you've got these group going around and questioning how people get things done. It's like, hey, this is how we got it to survive. It's like, no, you can't do that anymore.
I mean, we saw that with Gate, where the senators were scrutinizing the actions of the JSDF.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but in this case, it's actually justified.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, no, it looks interesting. I think I'm gonna go watch this.
There's some good deep character stuff too. Our super soldier, it deals with veteran issues because he can't live a normal life. He lives under a bridge with stray cats that he feeds because he can't live a normal life, which is something you see a lot of veterans have problems with because of post-traumatic stress or disorders and such. So it's got that level to it as well.
Yeah, it is really interesting. It's like you got the people who experimented, I assume, to help win the war, and then you need to repurpose these. How do I think it was a great episode in Star Trek Next Generation about this, but how do you repurpose the people? Because you can dismantle a weapon, you can reuse the metal or whatever, but a person still has to come back to the country that they spent their life defending and come back into society and somehow
do you just throw them away? Do you help them? And
obviously it's taken to the degree where I assume they're like pseudo superhuman basically, but at the same time that's a soldier is in the same way. I mean, that kind of thing. It's just they've just taken the level that up to 10 instead of
exactly.
like 3. And it's the same context. What does a soldier do once the war is over? And how useful can they be? It's really so it looks like a really interesting show. I think I have to get into this. Yeah, it's interesting.
Highly. I recommend that even more than Jin Roh. Even though Jin Roh is shorter, this is 24 episodes. It may take a little longer to get through, but it's really worth it.
There we go.
Cool.
Should we move on next one?
How many more do you want to go over, Nasuth?
I could really just go over one more, honestly.
Because I see we've got a lot we haven't gone over yet.
No, but we don't have to. It's depending on
okay.
where...
I got you.
It depends on where the conversation
I gotta do
goes.
one more because you asked me about it earlier, so I have to do it later.
Okay.
That's
I've got
fair.
2. One which I want to be the last one, right?
Okay.
And one I'm just going to ramble about for a while.
Okay, so you do your while one.
Okay. Give me
Sit down with Papa Laws.
Sit down. It's time for me to chip a tiny fraction off of trying to dig into Gundam. Right. So I've got my I don't want not that Gundam.
Well, it's gone with just flat out Gundam. Hold on, let me just.
God, give me my Gundam.
Fine, I'll give you your Gundam. Start talking.
I mean, I don't even understand the military context in Recognister and G. Is there a military? Who knows? It just is.
I was
As
going to say,
people
yes,
turn
there
up, are
is.
they freedom fighters? Are they walls you run into? No one knows.
There you go.
But we do know
There
that
we
they
go.
have eyes.
Xeno will love this starting image. Okay, so I'm going to just chip a little tiny bit into just a bit of generality. I was thinking about doing a few of the Gundam shows and bouncing between them and then talking about a little bit of the difference. But honestly, we could do a whole series of episodes off of the politics of Gundam, the differences in each setting of Gundam, the positives, negatives of the good guys, the bad guys. Are they good guys, bad guys? What the use of weapons, the use of prototyping weapons, the politics of that, the politics of propaganda. It is all in Gundam. You know, Gundam is such a huge thing in Japan. It's been going on for so long. And I know we brought up a little bit in the past, but Gundam was pretty much, I'm not sure if it was the first. It was the first what was called real robot show. And I can't remember when we were in like the 80s or something, around 70s, 80s. Most robot shows were these giant superpowered robots that would punch through things and be superpowered. Gundam brought it down to almost a real world setting. They're almost like humanoid tanks, and it has, you know, they have ammo, they have power, they're made of metal, and the arms can get blown off and damaged, and you know, we can build a better robot with better sensors or better motors and things, and it is superior to other robots, that kind of thing. But the other thing that really set Gundam apart, which I'm going to talk about, is the political setting. So you've got, and I don't even know how to interpret it, because we've got two. We're just going to stick in the normal, just sticking to the normal Gundam timeline. Even though I'd love to do a little bit of Seed, I'd love to do a little bit of 00. No, we're sticking just to the general, what's called the UC Universal Century timeline. We do have a big Gundam episode coming up at some point, don't we? With Joey, and that'll be sometime in the new year. Even that, we're not going to get anywhere. We're just get a tiny dot. But anyway, so I'll give you just the basic setting, and it's really interesting because you've got the Earth sphere, which are, you know, they've been in charge for a while, and they've built colonies in space. And the space colonies are getting a bit oppressed by the people on Earth because they send a lot of people out into space to live on these colonies, and their lives are not great. So almost like a royal family appears or starts up called I think it's they set up a group called Zeon, basically, which represents the space colonies, and they start rebelling from Earth and start attacking Earth. Now Earth, if you see a lot of stuff like this, they're very traditional, they're very bureaucratic, the higher ups are very aloof and don't really take the colonies to be a threat. They go with old military dogma. As you can see here, that looks like almost like a military of today. But that's
like
the military.
Suspenders.
Their suspenders?
They've got suspenders.
Oh yeah, for their armplates. Yeah. But this is the Earth military as it is in Gundam. And most of the time, they are very slow to react. Very. They think at first they can just win through overwhelming power using the, which is a very standard thing in war. Is with fighting the last war, and they've got big battleships with big battleship cannons, and they think that'll be enough to win them the war because they've mass produced loads of these. And then the thing that happens is the Zeon soldiers, which obviously back in the 70s, 80s, they were kind of the bad guys. They have rifles which kind of look like the Germans' guns and things. And are they supposed to be represented a bit on the German side? Who knows? Oh, I'm going to come back to this sec. And so they get taken apart when the new thing that appears in the battlefield is the mobile suit. But I want to point to this here is what's called just about to happen. This is Operation British. Oh. That's Australia, and that's a space colony. So this is the starting setting for, this is where the story begins in the original Gundam series. The Space Forces have developed their new mobile suit technology, and they're using it to fight back in space. However, they're losing, and they want to make a point, so they take one of their space colonies, take all the people off of it, and literally throw it at Australia. And I was tempted to try and find a picture. There is a few shots of what happens to Australia afterwards. There's not much left. And what happened after this, there was a small armistice where the space colonies guaranteed they would not drop any more colonies, but the Earth forces were also guaranteed they wouldn't use any nukes. And both sides I'm not going to spoil. I can't spoil it because it's like when to happen. Both sides do both at certain points in
Just
in
drop
the
asteroids on them. You don't need to
Gundam
drop
series.
your expensive colony. Just find an asteroid and chuck it at Earth.
From where?
From the asteroid belt.
You know how far away that is?
Yeah, also you'd have to build the engines. You'd have to, whereas the colony is already in orbit and things, and you just have to poke it, and it starts falling. And it's obviously got reactors. Here we are setting up Operation British, and it's got loads of stuff on it already. It's a big mass. It's already just pre-built to just chuck at Earth.
I can't remember if the asteroid belt is between Mars and Jupiter or Jupiter and Saturn.
Mars and Jupiter.
Yeah, it's not exactly next door.
Well, I didn't know how far the colonies were.
Next door.
They're most of them between or just outside, lunar orbit and things like that.
Right.
That's the kind of region we're doing. Gundam normally uses that setting. It doesn't normally branch out too far.
I thought they were inside the lunar orbit.
Most of them are. Sometimes you get ones outside. I don't want to include those. Most of them are to do with. Oh god, I always forget this term, and I do remember it. They're called Lagrange points. It's like you put the Earth, the Moon, and then different points around, and it uses all these things. I learned that through Gundam Lagrange points. So yeah, it normally doesn't go that far away from Earth Gundam, and it is very good. But the politics of it. So you get, and I'm waiting for this one picture to come up of the alien space forces side. Even that side is shown to be corrupt in a different way because I'm waiting for this bloody picture, which I thought looked brilliant. The Zeon forces get taken over by almost like a royal family called the Zabis, and it's to do with mass amounts of politics and infighting and people taking over and almost backstabbing and killing each other just to take over and win the war, but at the same time I want to win the war, but if I kill my brother I'll be the one in charge. But then also the other thing's interesting of Betrayal of Military is that the Zeon forces are kind of like Germany in World War II. They produce a lot of unique suits that can't be mass produced. And so that they're very powerful, but they only can make a handful of them. Whereas the Earth forces are more like, I guess, the Allies. I think you saw it earlier. There was this red suit called the GM, Mass Production Gundam, and their strategy, same with the battleships, is just to produce. There you go. This is the mass-produced Gundam unit, and it is got no bells and whistles. It has a gun, it has a beam saber, it has a shield, and it is. Well, it's better than what's called the Ball. We'll get to balls another day. Floating coffins. And so their strategy was just to produce the same thing, loads and loads of it. So it's interesting to see that there's even whole Gundam series which just take in that aspect of weapons development and make a whole series about it, and how they tried to build the Zeons build a suit which has a reactor which can explode, but they pretend it's been fixed. But then the information gets leaked, so it's not even being used as a propaganda article. It's just so many aspects of it. But the key point is that you've got neither side are good. I'm still waiting for this bloody image to come up. And I swear it's in there.
Would you say this is the Game of Thrones of anime?
It's that. It's so many different. Well, it has that whole political thing about it.
Okay,
no,
right.
No, because we have no.
Winter's coming, but they're talking about the colonies.
Right.
Colonies are
hold on. You say Game of Thrones, right? Game of Thrones pretty much focused around a group of people that just wanted to constantly do weird, shady shit.
A group of assholes.
Right? Yeah, it's just a group of assholes, right? Whereas in Gundam, and I can't speak for all the Gundam shows, especially the UC, because I've not seen the UC, right? But all Gundam shows I have seen, everyone has a decent, solid reason for their actions. They're not all just fucking assholes trying to get one over each other or try to break the rules because they want to have sex with their sister. Right? So, I mean, I'm not letting you say that Gundam is the like Game of Thrones.
Okay.
But so one thing I want to quiz you on is why do you so why in the narrative did the team opt to build the mobile suits? So why did the colonies build? What was the purpose of them?
Yeah, so I'm just going to point out, so if you want to get into the Gundam UC timeline, it's a great point to do. It's called Gundam The Origins, where you actually see that. Sorry, I just want to put. I think it's on screen now. I can't see it right now. So just point out, it even has aspects of military. Just want to point out some military where this is one team using mass-produced sort of spare parts to build pseudo Gundams, and you see one with a basic head is because they get broken down, they have to replace them with the wrong parts, mass-produced. So they refer to that one as the GM head because they ran out of Gundam heads to give it. That's a great one to watch by the 8th MS team. Anyway, you're saying about the development of the mobile suits. So the key point is that there we are. Look at them. Look at those political fat cats. Right, you can just tell they're all assholes up for their own game. Yeah. No, but at the same time, yeah. So this is Xeon. This is the Xeon hierarchy here. Some of them, a great example. So these are the people that developed the first mobile suit, and they needed to be able to. Which again, this is parallels of how things worked in our world as well. They're space colonies, and they're supposed to be loyal to Earth, but they've got to develop a weapon to help them fight the war, and not all of them believe in it. So the other thing about it, and so they try to develop it in secret, and they develop it as a mobile worker to help them operate in space, to move things around. And then on the side, they're trying to weaponize that as a weapon. The other thing that it has that they build is called a special type of generator to power the mech that actually releases particles called Minovsky particles, which prevent long-range communication.
Right.
And the reason why that's useful is that way you can't use drones, you can't use remote weaponry, you can't use laser-guided weaponry because you can't communicate for them. And I love that as a setting, that they actually justify why. Well, hang on a minute, why can't I just fly by wire these missiles from billions of miles away? It's like, no, you can't, because even the mobile suits will pump out these particles, and then they start putting them in the spaceships as well to prevent communication long distance. So that's why you have to get close and use your mobile suits to work.
So you said the mobile suits have these generators in them.
Yes.
Are these generators just to produce the particles?
No. It was discovered as a byproduct. Yeah.
Cool. Right. Okay. So these mobile suits.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm trying to understand. So was the war happening for a duration of time before they did Operation British, where they dropped the colony, or was it like, back the fuck off, here's a colony?
No, so the first attacks are they rebel and declare independence from Earth, the colonies as a whole. And then that picture you just saw there with all the battleships, Earth responds by sending fleets of battleships at them. And the colonies try and do the same, but obviously they don't have as many battleships. And they think, well, this is all we've got to try. And that actually image there is the first time mobile suits were deployed to attack battleships, and they just decimate the fleet. A handful of mobile suits is able to take apart, because of these reactors, these compact reactors, and they can power weapons that, would just destroy the battleship. So then they're much more maneuverable even than fighters. I know that people are like, how it is. It's giant robots, it's for fun. But they're just so effective and able to use weapons on a scale that in a small unit with a scale that's never been seen before, and so they start winning fights in space. However, the Earth can just chuck a nuke at a colony at this point. Right. I think they do. I think that's what happens first. They nuke a colony, or they start blowing up colonies. And in retaliation, the Xeon go, well, we have to stop them. So they start chucking colonies down, or they start to chuck that first one. And then they're like, hey, we can't just keep both doing this. So that's why they have the armistice for that.
So do we see post the armistice?
Yes, that's basically where it starts. That's where the original Gundam story starts. Yeah.
Ah.
Yep. And the reason I love it is because it sets up reasons why this weapon's used, why these can't be used, that kind of stuff. But the way it portrays military, all Gundam shows, even though they're kind of, you might think they're pro-military, they're really not. The actual core message is military suck. Well, the higher-ups of militaries always suck. They're always in it for their own game, and it really is quite actually pacifism in the whole way. Before we do the full Gundam show, I'm going to get both of you to watch one thing called War in the Pocket, which is just might even have you in tears by the end. It's just it's short. It's quite short. It's only like 5 episodes long.
You've been pushing me to watch War in the Pocket for bloody
and the feels, man.
Yeah, like for God knows how.
Make me feel things. Fine.
You feel things. Yeah.
Right.
But so yeah, I don't want to sit here and ramble for hours and hours and hours. It's because I have barely scratched anything by saying all this. There is so much more to do. It even brings in business dealings on both sides. I just want to point out that's something we don't get in military.
Wartime profiteering.
Yeah. So on the moon is a company called AMAIM Electronics. They're the people who build the first. I can't remember this exactly. I'm probably getting it wrong. I don't know if they built the first Gundam, or at least they designed it, or partly with the Earth side. But they also work with the Zeon as well. They're almost playing both sides against each other with the sole goal of producing the best mobile suits.
I always knew Florida would be the end of us.
Yes, yep, definitely. They'll move to the moon. When they move to the moon, you worry. Yep.
Right. Should we move on to the next thing then?
Sure.
Yes,
okay.
I mean I could just sit here and ramble, but please let's move away because I know there's going to be we're going to do Gundam another time, probably a few more times actually, but yeah.
Cool. Right. So the last one I really want to talk about is magical girl Spec-Ops Asuka. Right.
I love that as a starting image.
Right. Now I'm going to have to read out the blurb for this because it's been some time since I've watched this. But
let me read it out.
If you want to, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, gonna give it to me somewhere?
Oh, sure, I'll give it to you somewhere.
We'll give it to you, all right.
Slap it in the document, and I can read it from that.
And sorry, was it pop in? Sorry, just pop the blurb in the document. Okay,
yeah.
Right, I'm gonna plot.
Ooh, these are all magical girls.
Yeah. Though I don't recognize a chunk of them. Yeah. I don't recognize 3 of them. But where's the doc? There's the doc. Gonna pop it in here. There you go.
When the Earth is threatened by the sudden appearance of undead creatures, a group of young women, blessed with powers from a mysterious source, rise to defeat them. Now, after 3 years of apparent peace, the same malevolent... it's in the past. Rose to defeat them. Now, after 3 years of apparent peace, the same malevolent creatures have resurfaced. 5 magical girls are once again conscripted to war as the Magical Girl Special Ops Force to defend mankind from an unholy nemesis.
Yep, Shinji.
So, the big thing about this series is, in part, it's a bit of a deconstruction of the magical girl genre. Now, anyone that's seen Maha Shoujo Madoka Magica or Magical Girl Madoka will recognize that also as a deconstruction of magical girls, right? The reason why this is so good to me is that these girls are the only ones that can deal with the impending threat of these nasty undead creatures, right? I don't think they're undead. I just think they're just mysteriously evil, right?
It still says undead.
I know it says undead, but that feels off, right? Because you saw those big bunny things, those were some of the evil creatures, right? So anyway, but the whole point is that the girls that are magical girls, they are actually, I believe they are conscripted into a military service to be trained properly on how to deal with these situations, right? They're not just I'll just wing it.
Mm.
So it's kind of like what would happen if magical girls really existed. They would be, captured by the government, studied, used, whatever.
Well, without putting that much of a negative spin on it, yes, pretty much, right? The
trained and utilized. Let's use
yes, yeah. Because the big thing, the biggest reason why I dislike Neon Genesis Evangelion is because fucking getting the robot. How the fuck is he supposed to pilot it? Has it right? Just get in the robot, just pilot the robot. How?
Mental sync.
Did he go to we're not talking Gunbuster levels here where they actually have schools where they're training to how to no, it's just get in the fucking robot. Evangelion was a deconstruction of the giant robot genre, right? And the same with Maha Shoujo Madoka Magica. Giant robot genre. No, I'm joking. But with Magical Girl Spec Ops, Asuka, it is a deconstruction because they are trained to fight properly.
Which
right?
actually is deconstructed, because in most magical girl shows, it's like, I'm a normal schoolgirl walking around. A magical item is thrown into my hands. I will now defeat the evil.
Yeah. Like, you know, they actually have to, I think when they're fighting in the war originally, they're whoa, Nasuth, what is this image?
I don't know. It was there.
Okay.
What am I watching here now?
Basically,
you know,
there is a bad group of magical girls as well, right? There's a terrorist organization that are training bad magical girls to do bad shit, right? You know, Agents of Chaos and all that stuff. Like, really hope this. There we go. It's gone away now. Please don't come back.
I gave you a chance to review the images.
Well, clearly I need to now, don't I? Anyway, like, no, you sent me an image. I was like, is this too gory? I'm like, no, that's fine, right? Not, is this girl bent over this box a problem?
Is this smut?
Hey, she's clothed. It's fine.
Just.
Anyway, right. So, but another side of this is there's only like 5 magical girls, right? And 2 of them are in Japan, 1 of them's American, 1 of them's Chinese, and I think 1 of them's Russian, right? So it's not just one country has all the magical girls, which again, I really liked. Because, you know, what's that? All the shit happens in New York City, nothing happens anywhere else in the world, right? I really dislike that. So the fact that, you know, there are different magical girls across the world, and they're brought together as a team in Japan to deal with the problem.
Planet.
Yeah, but on a global scale.
So was Captain Planet?
Yeah,
No,
they were
he
all
was
from
in the
different
Amazon
countries.
rainforest.
Have you not seen the Irish episode?
In the Amazon rainforest?
No,
Yeah.
in Captain Planet.
Does it lead to the Amazon rainforest?
I
think it's a different. I think you're talking
episode.
about a different show entirely.
The rare group of
Captain
Amazon
Planet.
Irish.
No. Have you not
It's
seen the Irish
always
episode
in.
in Captain
It's
Planet?
always in.
No, it's not. No, you haven't seen the Irish episode, which is
No,
hilarious.
clearly. Okay.
Is it a good character who's lost their arm here, or a bad character that's lost their arm here?
Bad character.
He doesn't
Because
seem much pleased.
no, because the girl with the blade, that's actually Asuka,
Yeah.
right? So again, their weapons are brutal weapons. They're
Yeah,
not
it
just
is not
like,
a happy, fun
it's,
magical girl.
I've got a scepter. I was like, no scepter. This is like a.
I'm going to destroy you with ambiguous light.
Yeah.
I have defeated you. Oh, I am on the floor, slightly bruised.
But yeah, it's very mature themed, and I just like it for the fact that they actually have this military component. It just works really, really well.
It does sound pretty amazing.
I would recommend watching this one.
So how do they relate to the normal military? Do we see the enforcement of the normal military?
Yep.
Are they involved?
Yeah.
So what role do they take?
The girls or the normal military?
The military.
Military tend to back them up, sort of thing. So, like, they will deal with evacuating the people out of the areas, or they will deal with the human insurgents rather than the magical girl insurgents. So it's they'll try and stem the flow of the chaos. So if you've got a horde of monsters coming along, then they will shoot them, try to slow them down and things until the magical girl can step in. So at least this is what I recall from memory. I'm pretty sure that's accurate. But honestly, I really, really enjoy this, and I'm actually tempted to go rewatch it.
So the military? Does the military ever? Do we get bits where the military tries to push them to the magical girl team too far, or any negatives, or is it just there as just a supportive background thing that never really explained in depth?
I'm pretty sure they do give orders, right? So like the magical girls aren't independent. They do function through the normal hierarchy of a military organization. I think it's more the psychological, like the more like the PTSD and things like that.
Yeah, I'm seeing some PTSD.
Yeah, of these girls having to fight these battles and things like that. I mean, I'm pretty sure this girl here is actually a victim of...
He's a victim of something.
of one of the battles going wrong. Like, I think she ends up losing like a limb or something. And thus she is actually sort of like tricked by the terrorist organization to join them and become a magical girl to fight the good magical girls.
Right.
So there is a lot of PTSD and things in this. I'm pretty sure. I'm hoping I'm not mixing up two shows. I'm pretty sure I'm remembering all of this. Yeah, but yeah, honestly, I really, really like this. And I love how, again, they've deconstructed it to be something that makes fucking sense instead of getting the fucking robot Shinji.
Just look at the detail in this image. Like, oh. And it's gone. Look at the detail in this. No.
Look at the detail in this image.
But yeah.
So we should move on to Nasuth's last one.
Oh gosh, yeah. So I was also going to cover Grave of the Fireflies, but we're not going to do that. But if you're ready to cry and you haven't seen Grave of the Fireflies, go watch it. It's a Miyazaki film, Studio Ghibli. You'll love it. But instead, what I'm going to cover is the really, really weird show, Reign the Conqueror, otherwise known as Alexander Senki.
Otherwise known as Malevolent Horses.
So it's ostensibly set in ancient Greece. It's the rise of Alexander the Great.
Ooh.
So this guy is a member of the cult of Pythagorea. They've also got Zoroastrians later on. There's a whole, what are they called? Persian army, you know, and it's very weird and steampunk and magic based and just kind of crazy. There's an object called, like, Alexander is prophesied to destroy the world, and he will do so through use of what is called the Platohedron, which is all of Plato's perfect shapes combined into one. All the Platonic shapes combined into one thing, which is supposed to, like, have the power of the universe inside of it. I don't really understand.
I think so. The Plato shapes thing. If I recall, if I'm remembering my ancient Greek fossils right. So the thing with the perfect
there's like
shape,
a perfect one for a perfect version somewhere.
Yeah, if you look at a chair, it's like, well, what is a chair? And it's like, well, come on, Zeno, what is a chair?
What is the Platonic ideal of a chair?
Right, but I can put my butt on a rock. Why? What makes a chair a chair? And not a table or not a footstool? What makes the chair a chair? So it's like, and the goal is you break it down and you make, well, there must be a perfect form of a chair that, though you couldn't specify all the forms, the extra forms a chair can have, which some of them you need, some you don't need, but there must be a perfect form that exists between all chairs that makes it a chair. So you can have the perfect forms. Is this I assume that's what it is. There's like perfect shapes or perfect forms, and you combine them all to do what?
There must be a perfect sphere somewhere. We'll never be able to make a perfect sphere, but there must be one somewhere.
Yes, yeah.
And you can combine them all to rule the world and shape it as you see fit.
As you do.
You know.
I also love, did you say it was steampunk?
Yeah. Oh, did I accidentally rotate this image somehow? I don't remember that being weirdly angled like that. Whatever. Yes, it is steampunk.
Now, that's another interesting thing. The ancient Greeks actually were like this close to having the steam engine.
The Antikythera and everything, yeah.
Well, no, not the... You mean what? You talking about the Antikythera mechanism?
Yeah, wasn't that steam-based?
No, that's cog-based, and that's just pure maths. No, they actually had... I can't remember the Greek name for it, but it was also called the Hero Engine. They just had it as like a distraction tool. They had like a big golden... Well, I think it was golden or a sphere with two funnels that come out and then go at 90 degrees, and they point in opposite directions. They used to fill it with water and heat it and go, look, it spins!
Yeah.
And like, okay... If you just apply that, you have a steam engine.
Yep.
They literally had them as just like, it looks fun. Look, that spins when I heat it up, heat the water, and cool. You fill it with water, put a fire underneath, and it spins. It's like, yes.
Oh, so this is our Persian army. This right here is our Persian army. They're clearly using tanks that have like weird rotating blades on the sides. It's very strange.
Ooh. Okay, that's very interesting. Okay.
So in terms of military usage, it is there is a lot of focus on how Alexander is going to beat the Persians. It really does manage to sort of cover how cavalry goes from this distraction to an actual force that can take on the enemy because they can move too fast. They can do lightning strikes and such. They can really harrow the enemy. They can just outpace them in every way. And that is actually accurate to Alexander. But I mean, it's just weird. If you've ever seen Aeon Flux, this is the same artist who did that, which is, you'll see a lot of similarities in the character designs. Lots of very tall, beautiful people wearing very little clothing. I say beautiful, but I mean, that face. You can actually find it online. I did just look it up recently. I own the actual DVDs because I loved it that much and I couldn't find it for the longest time. When I say love, I love it because it's so weird. It's just so weird.
What way does it actually portray the militaries then? Positive, negative, necessary?
Historical. Kind of. No, they're
Not explain this horse.
So this is Bucephalon, which I don't know if that's an actual like mythological horse that was carnivorous and ate people, but the only person who can tame it is Alexander, and it is he's obsessed with speed, and this horse is his personal speed, right?
So are we talking like F1 car, or are we just talking about drugs?
Yeah. F1 on cocaine. That's Diogenes, by the way. Diogenes the dog. They do actually pull from real stuff, very liberally, but they do actually pull from real stuff, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, I put it on there. Honestly, I put it on there because when I was putting this list together for myself, I went through the military tag on Anime Planet, and I'd only seen like a couple of shows, and then there was this, and I was like, oh, I know that one. No one will understand it. It's perfect.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, so I think we talked about or mentioned it, but I don't know if it was last week or the week before. So it's like, why would Japanese anime do historical drama alternative thing for the Greek armies of this period? And it's like, so it's exotic to them, I assume is why. Yeah,
exactly.
What the fuck?
That's Alexander in his battle armor. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Oh, yep. You can't tell, but it stops right there. He is bare from the hips down.
Of course.
Well, I'm glad that you're there.
Pretty much everyone is dressed that way. It's crazy. Because that's how Peter Chung do. You know, if you've seen Aeon Flux, you know.
No midriff armor.
No midriff armor. Cool. Protected by plot and magic.
Magnets. How do they work? Anyway, I have literally no questions for this.
What questions could you possibly ask?
Well, correction. I have too many questions for this. And I think ignorance is probably bliss at this point.
Oh no, you definitely got to watch it. It's so. Is
that a Minotaur?
No, that is one of the Pythagoreans. They can shapeshift.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. How did you not know that, Loz? Jeez.
No, I'm sorry.
They use triangle magic to shapeshift.
Yeah, that's what they teach you in school. That's
they also come in. They also come in groups of 3, and they all talk together.
Of course, come on.
I'm not gonna lie. This genuinely feels like a cult movie that rivals Flat Earthers. Where basically
the Greeks had steam engines, and fought monsters.
Shapes are bad. Shapes are a lie. There are no shapes.
Do
Everyone
you
knows.
Want to give away the ending?
No, I wanna maintain my sanity. I wanna bounce. I wanna move on to Loz's thing.
Oh, okay, well, it's just the last one to finish off. I decided to have a think around and see if I could find the most absolutely stupid implementation of military in anime. Now, I had 2 contenders for this, so I got lots of images, so do you want to put the images up for the one that it is?
Okay.
Bottom right there.
Yeah, I hit it.
So the other option I chose that I didn't choose was going to be Girls and Panzer. note that guy's briefcase. The whole point of this is for what's in that guy's briefcase, which I'll come to. So the other, I just want to quickly go. The one I didn't go for was Girls and Panzer, which I just want to outline the plot because that's ridiculous. I'm sure I'll find a way to weave it into one episode some other time, where there is aircraft carriers of people with schools on, and in those schools, girls can learn to do tanks, and they drive and fight tanks, and they fight other girls on other aircraft carriers of tanks
from other
with
countries.
their tanks. Which are other countries? Or no, they're themed of other countries. I don't think they actually are the other countries.
They were. No, I thought they were.
Maybe they are. Okay, but it's all about girls fighting other girls in tanks, which is hilarious. But there is one which is there a way to skip to the images quicker?
No.
Okay, well, everything you're going to see on screen is from Yu-Gi-Oh! GX from 2004, and in this world we have magical trading cards. These trading cards are to the point that they take over television. They take over world politics. They can deal with world ending events. Yep. They've even got, and that's where what?
But do they take over your heart?
They do. They in fact have They in fact have their own heart, which is heart of cards. And in this world, what is there a military to do? In fact, there is this military, which is, as you can see them here. The briefcase is just behind Nasuth, a very important briefcase. We have what appears to be, and one of the images comes up soon, I hope. It's like a carrier group of ships, and its whole job is to deliver rare cards to the card game school.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Backpedal up a second, right?
Yeah. One briefcase worth of cards.
You've cycled past. I'm looking for my delivery. You know, I've flagged back. You gotta come back. Right. Card game school.
Yes. So in this is a world where the use of card games is so important. So these kids need to learn how to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Because that's all they're going to do in life.
I remember in the start of Yu-Gi-Oh! They were playing the card game.
It was helicopters wasted. Just
in their lunch break.
Yes, they were. At school. Normal school.
A regular people's school.
Yes.
Right? Where you learn shit.
Right, but Seto Kaiba, who's important, who, screw the rules, I have money, decided that it would be good if he decided to find an abandoned island with a volcano and put a school on it and weird science labs and weird ancient Egyptian people.
If you tell me during this, right, that there's one scene where Chris Pratt is running down the side of a fucking active volcano to jump into the ocean, I'm out, okay?
I think they duel in the volcano.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. That's worse. That's genuinely worse.
Xeno just gets up and leaves.
I'm waiting for some of the images of the giant fleet of ships, and then as you can see, there's 6 helicopters there. Like, flying on those helicopters at the moment costs like thousands of pounds to get them airborne and fly them around for even like a few hours. However, I have no idea what those are even doing, because the guy is on the beach with his briefcase of cards that he's there to deliver.
Why is he on the beach?
Well, because just off to the right, there was some 3 landing craft landed, and there's just him. I don't know why just him, but there's 3 landing craft, which are dangerous to use. Oh yeah, here's the briefcase of cards up close. Just want to show you
wow.
Is the most. That is all that they were using.
So badass. Look at that logo.
I know. Look at it.
What
Dual monsters. Dual monsters. Yep.
Really?
So, yep.
Where's the D or the M?
I don't know. I think that's dual monsters, yep. So this briefcase of cards was what the goal was to deliver to the gaming school. And this just contains some rare cards. Not one boat, not just one helicopter, a whole fleet of ships and helicopters flying, guarding the ships while they're going in. Look, and I don't know why there's people out on deck. There's just one shot I want. I think there's you see, there's this looks like, okay, 3 ships and 6 helicopters. That's not. No, there's like 20 helicopters and at least 5 ships. And this, yeah, so just the last point. This is the... Well, in a world where card games control everything, what do you need a military to do? Clearly, their job is to guard rare cards.
They don't even put this much security on gold shipments.
No, they don't.
I mean,
one briefcase of rare cards. It's not like a whole shipment or a whole boatload. It's just that briefcase. Because the guy then takes the briefcase into the school. It's so stupid. It's like, I'm going to take this into the shop and then the rare cards will be available. And he steps into the shop and then they open the door for the kids. And then they open the briefcase and it says all the cards are sold out. And then one guy just bought all the cards. So it's like, what was the freaking point?
oh my god.
Oh, there we go. There's some more of the boats. Yep. Look at all these huge boats. So just to fire it off, yeah. This is if someone else listening can find a worse military, almost stupid military in an anime, please let me know. If not, it will stand that the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX or the Yu-Gi-Oh! Universe military's job of sending cards to a school with a military escort, probably costing, I don't know, several £100,000 to move this carrier fleet down there to deliver this one briefcase.
It's worth it.
Yep. Oh, and then it's one teacher who buys all the cards in the briefcase. So I'm pretty sure the expenditure of the Navy to move these boats around.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how much do these cards cost?
I know, right?
How are kids gonna afford that?
Buys them all. Yeah, how are the kids gonna buy these cards? They should cost millions. I don't know. It's the stupidest thing ever.
Okay.
Right.
I give up.
So on that, the stupidest military ever.
On that bombshell.
Yeah, Nasuth, make the big.
I mean, wait for the end of the show, honey.
What? No, shut up. Right. Okay, so we have spent a lot of time. We've talked about different applications of military in anime, the difference between military in anime and in East and West, how it's all viewed and everything. And yeah, I think it's time we're gonna move on with the rest of the show. The next part that we're going to talk about is our supporter questions.
Oh yeah.
All right. Yeah. So our first supporter question from Zrugel. Before I read out Zrugel's question, I just wanted to ask our lovely audience to smash that like button and leave a comment down below. I promise we read every comment. We do. Also,
we do. I force
we
them to.
do.
I force them to.
Also, if you can't think of anything to say, just tell us what you've been watching recently and if you liked it. Also, tell us how bad our opinions are and things and how we're wrong. Telling us how we're wrong also makes the YouTube algorithm happy. I don't know. Right. So, Zrugel asks, has putting these episodes up on early access helped with views? No. Simply put, no. Right? But I think time will grow. Time will tell. No, it's just dedication to the craft, isn't it?
That's right.
Right. So Thaylien asks, last week's episode was on guilty pleasures, and for that episode, I asked about self-insert shipping. So this time, I'm going to ask about guilty pleasure food. If the Kanpai host could eat a meal from an anime series or movie, what would it be, and who would you serve it? And who would serve it to you? Mine's easy. Like I know mine straight away.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So in JoJo Part 4, Diamonds Are Unbreakable, there's one of the stands, I think it's called Red Hot Chili Peppers. The stand user is a chef, and he's able to make such amazing food, it just heals up your body, right? To the point of, teeth with fillings just come flying out of your mouth and you grow brand new teeth, right? A physical impossibility. And I'm like, oh my God, my eyesight would get better, my skin would get better, like my back would loosen up. It's like that food right there. And I'd actually have, I'm going to say Jotaro Kujo, who is the JoJo from Part 3, serve it to me. Yeah.
Nasuth?
Jeez. Anything from Food Wars, because let's face it, that food will make you really enjoy things. Yes. Who would you do it though? The Wing Zero. Yes, Wing Zero will feed me. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Imagine, no, I'm just imagining, right, Wing Zero there with this tiny little plate of food on the tip of its finger, just handing it to you, trying not to break anything around you.
No, it's gotta use the fork too. Come on, I can't
No,
be
it's not
expected to
gonna-
do that myself.
No, you can fucking feed yourself. Don't be a lazy shit. It's just serving you the food.
See, I'm imagining like a Gunpla sized one.
Oh
my
okay.
God.
Tiny, trying to
Just
feed him.
carrying this giant
Plate. Yep. And it has the like fork and just with two hands, like holds it up to him.
I like it. I like it. We'll go with that one.
So if I was like something I actually wanted, what's the in the Fruit of Evolution show? What's that called?
What, the Fruit of Evolution?
That one. Yeah, I suppose I could have those, but because that'd be good because I could evolve myself. But I would have to choose Toru's tail from Kobayashi's Dragon Blade.
Oh, damn.
That's got to be that.
Does
But
it
who would
have a
serve
mind
it?
of its own?
Toru.
Toru
No.
would serve. Okay, cool.
Toru is so tail. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it's because Toru's like. Have you not seen Kobayashi's Dragon Maid?
No, I haven't.
You should watch it. Seriously, you should make a list, dude. Make a list.
Good. So
Make a
much to
list.
watch. So much to watch.
Yeah.
Like just like just have a list of things you have to watch.
Make a list.
It's on the list. Add it to the list.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. What's next?
Right. Also, on last week, Hydroxate was looking decidedly unfabulous. Although he had a good hat on to complement Loz's transformation into Connor, what anime characters do you think... What anime characters do you think look the best when cross-dressing?
Oh god, what was that from? Was that
What?
Battle Tendency? No.
What?
Which one was it where one of the JoJo's cross-dressed?
Yeah. It's Battle Tendencies. It's
Yeah,
JoJo
that one.
Part 2.
That one.
That was literally what I was going to say.
Damn it.
Oh god. Fuck, that's the only one that's in my head, god damn it. Loz, do you have one?
Well, I want to just. It'll be a minor spoiler for Nasuth and Xeno
no.
here for Kamuy can't communicate. I'm going to go with Tadano.
Oh, now I
That's
can't wait.
upcoming for you guys. I think that's coming quite soon, actually.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Damn it. I don't have my models behind me. I can't actually just turn around and look at my models and go like, that one. God, do I have a show where someone cross-dresses?
Oh, didn't Outlaw Star, didn't Jim cross-dress at one point?
Possibly.
I'll steal Xeno's if you can't remember one and just throw another one in here. I'm going to say, I can't remember his name, but the main character from Turn A Gundam. And there's a reason for that why it's really good, is because the, what's his name? Tamino actually wanted to have Turn A Gundam have a female protagonist, and he couldn't. So he made the main character look as, basically look like a beautiful girl. So then when they basically make them cross-dress, it's like, yep, this is the character he actually wanted to put in the show. And it does work. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have to go with that. I literally cannot think.
I mean,
the
I
problem
did steal
is,
yours, so...
yeah, Jotaro... not Jotaro. Joseph Joestar dressing up as a woman just lives
It's
so
so
rent-free in my
perfect.
head. It's so good. It's so funny. I can't... I'm flicking through what I've got on my hard drive. Through Crunchyroll. And I can't
I'm checking through my favorites.
I can't spot anything to hand that there's any cross-dressing moments. Yeah, damn. You're gonna have to be what Loz said. Cool. Right.
Yeah.
So that's it for this week's supporter questions. We're now going to move on to the comments. All right.
Uh-huh.
So, Arteria Faith, after reading a very, very long post, which I very much enjoyed, I'm going to pick up the beginning
I just
of
want
it.
to point out,
Very thoughtful.
Xeno's obviously being very nice. I'm going to say it was a little bit rambly and needed a quick proofread because some of the sentences were a bit odd.
Timestamps, please. Timestamps.
Oh yeah, so just to let anyone know, if you want to make a comment about something we're talking about, do take a timestamp. If you literally just put the time with colons in between, 2 dots, YouTube will instantly turn that into a hyperlink for us to click straight to that point in the video. So it's quick and easy to do. You don't have to do anything special.
There was references, and I have no... And I don't know why I was called out about the... Psychono Quasar stuff, because I haven't watched it. I don't know if I can know.
That was weird.
What was I called out
on that?
Anyway, however, the comment I was going to read out was when I was called out, Elfen Lied has aged better than Sponge Cake, right? So I'm going to do my damnedest to try and watch Elfen Lied again during this Christmas break to see whether or not it still holds up today, or whether and what.
Sponge Cake doesn't age very well.
That's my point. I don't think Elfen Lied has aged very well.
Yeah, but Sponge Cake aged so poorly that better than Sponge Cake is like not very high praise.
Okay. Anyway, right. So I will try and watch Elfen Lied again during this Christmas break.
As someone who has managed to never watch Elfen Lied, I will attempt to also watch it this Christmas break.
Oh my!
Yeah, you don't want to feel left out.
Right. Anyway, Zrugel says, it's not hard to describe guilty pleasure. It's something that you like, but aren't proud of liking. Now, that to me, I'm actually quite proud of liking High School Double D. I really, really enjoy it. It's just an amazing show. I just wouldn't want my parents catching me watching it.
Yeah, you see,
maybe that's what I mean. You're
I'm
not proud
to
say you're watching it to your parents or anyone in polite society.
Huh? Say that again?
Or anyone in polite society.
No. Before that.
Oh, it's not something you'd be proud to tell your parents.
No, I'd happily tell my parents I'm watching this show called High School Double D. I would just omit certain parts.
Yes, but that's like saying to my parents, like, if something random, like, I like reading the Necrotelecom. They would have no idea what it means.
Necrotelecom.
Yeah.
The Necroomicon.
No.
Necronomicon.
I said it right.
Okay.
The Necrotelecom.
Right. Okay, anyway.
It's in Discworld.
The next point...
sorry, I just want to change. So, I would change proud of admitting you like. I would make this change too, but yeah.
The next point was, I really like Monster Musume. Musume, rather. I didn't like Monster Girl Doctor, but interviews with Monster Girls was great. And that one is an unironic.
No, that one is unironically a favorite of mine.
Thank you. Sorry, the sentence just killed my brain. Right? I don't understand how you can unironically think like something, but regardless of that, honestly, interviews with Monster Girls is amazing. And yeah, that's why I wanted to bring that one up, because it's actually a really, really good series. I was actually recommended to that by Thaylien. So.
Speaking of Thaylien.
Right, MDRLOz. I literally specialize in long, rambling questions to drag out to the segment. If I just said, MFK anime characters, your choice, go, it would be letting the entire bit down.
Well, I see. Yeah. Thalien's always thinking of us. Good.
Yeah. All right. So that's it for the comments, and now we're going to move on to the memes.
He does specialize in. He is very specialized in doing that. He's very good at doing.
He literally specializes. He unironically specializes.
Is there a talent tree for that? Because he's put all the points in there.
Clearly. All right. So Nasuth, the memes.
All right. Bermuda Triangle.
Oh my god.
That's brilliant. Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, they only go up from here.
You get that's a JoJo meme, right?
Yes.
I know it's a JoJo meme.
Yes, I actually understand the JoJo memes now.
You haven't watched it yet, Loz.
Not that far, no. But it's just big on the internet as a JoJo meme at this point.
Okay. Nice one.
Right. So we've got what? There we go. We've got another one of these because I couldn't get enough of these. After isekais and reverse isekais fall out of favor, are we going to see office workers being isekai to other worlds just with slightly different jobs? Huh? Sorry, that was a strange thing to ask. I really like this meme format for some reason. I don't know why. And... Oh, you thought we were out of the lewd stuff. A cervix. Hentai artists. I'll ignore that.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Demonetized forever.
Clearly.
At first I was like, are they making a political statement to do with it? No, I know what that means.
Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for that one, Nasuth.
You're welcome.
Okay, right. So my first one is when the OP doesn't post the source. Everyone, OP, everyone, and then OP gets slapped in the face. Yep.
You have to paste the sweet source.
Yep, you really do. Right.
Yep.
My second one is Netflix. You tried your best and you failed miserably. Lesson is never.
So true. Oh god. They just can't do it.
And going off the whole military theme this week, German science is the world's finest. Off of
Oh, because she figured out how to drink while okay, I get it.
That's a magical reactor on her chest, and she's using it to bounce a cup of bubble tea.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And also a JoJo reference.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
Dearie me.
Loz doesn't get it. Right. So that is it for the memes. Next week we will be having Godzilla as a topic with Yeeture. She'll be joining us. Someone that Loz and all three of us know.
That's right.
Is very, very much into the whole Godzilla thing. And so that's it for this week.
A lot.
Yeah, so am I. I think I'm going to be pretty much quiet the entire episode because I'm like, oh wow, I know fucking. Yeah, pretty much. Right. So,
would you like to know more?
Loz, you good to sign us out then?
All right, here we go. So, 3, 2, 1, Kanpai!
Kanpai!